centerpiece game of the Illinois High School Football Finals. We have seen some outstanding football to the moment, including a real nail-biter, which we had for you just a few moments ago. But now, the 6A, as we will see the East St. Louis Flyers, a physically very gifted team, a team that is very hungry. They have had playoff success before. They have been here. They have been champions. And to take on the Flyers, who defeated on the season, a powerhouse team from the Mid-Suburban League of the Northwest area of Chicago, a very strong Hersey High School team, and these Huskies to the moment have lost 2 games, but they are also an extremely physical team, and they are a passing team. They'll have to do that today in order to win. Hi, everybody. I'm Bill Hazen along with Bill Gorley. Well, William, we can set the stage by starting right out and talking about East St. Louis. And when you think of them, speed is the instant thing that you associate with, and success, of course, with their program.
Well, I can't believe a team is named the Flyers when they have the ability that they have to be able to run the football. But I think you hit on it, Bill. It's a tradition. They have won the state championship 5 times. They won it successively in 83, 84, and 85, and then they won it again in 79. So this is their quest for their number 5.
And during those years, 5 years there, Coach Bob Shannon, who's been coaching there, lost just 1 game. It's an incredible success story.
Right, and I think the other thing is the contrast. You're looking at a Hersey team who last year went 1-8, and they lost their last 3 games. But they changed their offense, and now they're having a little success.
If you're going to stop a team like East St. Louis, you have to look at some great individual talent. As good of a back as we're going to see in Marvin Lampkin, he does it all. He has tremendous power and great speed, too.
Well, I think every coach in the state would agree he's probably the top player, probably going to be the top recruited player. But on the other hand, you have a young man by the name of Frank Komet, who is already committed to the University of Illinois. And, of course, he's the defensive player that has to stop Lampkin.
Yeah, it'll be kind of an interesting matchup here. Maybe one of the best offensive players in the state, one of the best defensive players in the state.
Absolutely, and I'm looking forward to this one because, as you mentioned earlier, Duke Tobin's going to have to throw the football in order to win. And, of course, we're getting some precipitation now. This field is awfully wet. You have to wonder, can he throw the football in this weather?
Hersey likes to show a kind of a multiple look, but they use the run-and-shoot attack, and they flood every zone with receivers.
Well, everybody has favorite names in vernacular in football. And, yes, they do run the run-and-shoot. But it's not the typical run-and-shoot where you throw the ball 40 or 50 times. They also run the option with it. They have 5 receivers out at a lot of times, and they mix it up pretty good. So it should be interesting to see if the Flyers, with their great ability to run, can be able to stop the type of offense that Hersey's going to present them.
All right, and we'll find out about it when we return. The 6A state championships are next here from the campus of Illinois State. We are looking from the south end zone of Hancock Stadium here on the campus of Illinois State University. They're getting ready to introduce the starting lineups for each team, and we'll be picking up the public address here so you can hear some of these players that we'll be watching out on the field today.
And the Huskies of Arlington Heights Hersey High School. First, introducing the starting defensive lineup for Hersey High School, which will appear as the home team on the scoreboard. First, the head coach of Hersey, Bruce Glover. At left end, number 55, Mike Ferraro. At left tackle, number 73, Frank Komet. At nose guard, number 71, Pat McDonald. At right tackle, number 56, Tom Basilakis. At right end, number 50, Mark Gunther. At linebacker, number 52, Steve Katsajanis. At linebacker, number 99, Chris Kennedy. At cornerback, number 33, Ray Benke. At cornerback, number 10, Mark Sunderland. At free safety, number 22, Kurt Bancelo. And at strong safety, number 1, Dave Platt. Those are the Huskies of Hersey High School.
And it's that unit. They will really have their hands full with a powerful offensive team that East St. Louis can put together.
And now introducing the starting offensive lineup for the Flyers of East St. Louis Senior High School, who will appear on the scoreboard as the visitors.
Coach looks like he's ready to go to war, doesn't he?
He certainly does. He's got his camouflage on.
That's it. He's ready to go to war today.
At left end, number 26, Kenny Robinson. At left tackle, number 66, Mike King. At left guard, number 65, Milton Reed. At center, number 54, Elijah Cobb. At right guard, 55, Dana Howard. At right tackle, 63, Chris Green. At right end, number 37, Keno Johnson. At quarterback, number 16, Vernon Powell. At halfback, number 33, Marvin Lampkin. At flankerback, 31, Alvin Johnson. And at fullback, number 28, Eugene Jones. Those are the Flyers of East St. Louis Senior High School.
Well, there you have it. And the stage is set. You've met the starting offensive and defensive squad that will initially be taking the field here. Here are the officials. They are from the Bloomington Normal area. The referee is Chuck Feeney. He's from El Paso, Illinois. Howard Owens from Urbana is the umpire. Roger M. Quinlan from Rantoul is the head linesman. And John Sullivan from Normal is the line judge. And so that crew from right here, very fitting since the state tournament is held right here, that the officials for this game should come right from the center of the state. And as you can see, for Coach Bob Shannon and his East St. Louis Flyers, success has been their buzzword. They have been here. They have won before. And as I say, you look at the expression on his face right now. As much as that camouflage outfit, you look at that stone face of his, he is ready to play football. He looks like he's ready to go out there and bump some heads around himself.
Well, he has a phenomenal record. He's 84-3. This year he's 13-0. And of course, he runs an outstanding program. The young people that he has had play for them have gone on and had other success. Obviously, one of the more noted is Kellen Winslow of the San Diego Chargers. So, and that was the first year. He played here the first year they had the state championship. So that's just the start of the ability that some of the players from the East St. Louis Flyers have had.
Well, and you know, Kellen Winslow has been a goodwill ambassador for East St. Louis also, because he is a class individual. I think everything that he has done and has accomplished has been very good for the city and for the school, and a lot of people associate him very closely with the program.
And I think you're also talking about Coach Bob Shannon, who has done much the same for that high school.
All right, we're getting set for the kickoff, and the two deep backs for East St. Louis are, well, Cecil Hawkins is one of them. He is on the far side. And on the near side for East St. Louis is Darrell Perry. So Perry on the near side, Hawkins on the far side. And for the Huskies, the kickoff is John Bookout, number 7, an all-state kicker. Done an outstanding job. We haven't mentioned much about the kicking game, but it could be very important here today. And Bookout, who has hit 7 field goals for the year of over 40 yards. He has a good leg. He tees it up on the far hash mark, and here we go. It's kicked well back, and having to go back to his 2-yard line to get it is Hawkins, and up the field he comes. Hawkins cutting toward the outside, could not get outside. He was stopped at the 19-yard line and then brought down. There was a flag fly, and there was definitely a late hit from Dave Platt, who stepped in there and bumped Hawkins at the 19-yard line, and I think this one will be assessed against Hersey.
I would certainly think so, and you certainly don't want to start a football game doing things like that.
No, you sure don't. And that's, you know, it was a late hit, very clear. There's no doubt about it. You couldn't miss it. So this will be knocked out. But really, he just shoved him down to the ground as he was trying to get up, which is totally unnecessary to get this game underway, really. That's Vernon Powell, the quarterback for East St. Louis, coming in, and they have depended on him. Like all good quarterbacks, he is a leader. This is the backfield behind him. Marvin Lampkin, very prominent in that attack. Johnson and Robinson. They have some good receivers on this team as well. A lot of speed. Up comes East St. Louis to the line. We'll pick up the line in a moment here. They run from a double tight set with a slot back to the near side. And the handoff, a drop, quick motion right up the middle to Eugene Jones, the fullback, and a converted wing back as he got about a yard or two, and that was about it. This is the offensive line for East St. Louis. Elijah Cobb is the man who takes care of the middle for them. He has Reed and Howard around him, King and Green at the tackle spot. Keno Johnson is a good blocking physical football player for East St. Louis. Gain of 2 on the play, 2nd down and 8. Split backs once again, double tight for quarterback Vernon Powell. First carry of the game for Marvin Lincoln, sweeping the side, and this time the defense was ready for him. It was there. Steve Katsajanis was there on the linebacker spot. This is the offensive line. They run an odd front here with a nose guard. McDonald in the middle. Komet and Vasilevskis are outstanding tackles. Ferraro and Gunther at the ends. Linebackers in the middle. Katsajanis who made the tackle, and Kennedy. They will have their hands full today. We will pick up the defensive backs in a moment with a 3rd down and about 7 yards to go. Powell back to throw. He's under pressure. Throws it at the last moment. Oh, and it's caught. But having to come way back to the ball to get it was a wide receiver. He didn't get the first down.
That was a fumble, Bill.
A fumble. The ball came loose. Kenny Robinson came back to it. Let's see who has it. Kenny Robinson had to come a long way back to that ball, and I think he slipped a little bit on the turf. East St. Louis was able to recover.
Well, let's take a look at this. He gets in trouble. One of the defenders gets a hold of him right there. He has to throw the ball. The receiver's wide open. However, he cannot stop his momentum, and he reverses his field. And there's the fumble.
As we return live, a 4th down punting situation inside the 40. It'll go out of bounds at the 38-yard line off of the punt by Mario Malone. And so East St. Louis will, on that 32-yard punt, surrenders possession of the ball, and the Hersey offense comes out onto the field. We may have not set the defensive backs. I'm going to do that quickly for Hersey, just here verbally. Mark Sunderland and Raymond Benke are the cornerbacks, and Kurt Vanselo and Dave Platt are the safeties. Now let's go to business with the Hersey offensive attack as Duke Tobin leads them up. A single back behind him is Greg Vick, the fullback. They have 4 wide receivers in almost every play. Put a man in motion. Vick gets the ball in the first part of the option. He got a couple of yards, and then East St. Louis gang tackling. Boy, they really got there in a hurry and got the job done after a gain of about 3 yards. The Hersey offensive backfield features Duke Tobin at quarterback, Greg Vick at the fullback spot, Johnson, Sabatello, and Ellinger. Those are all really wideouts. They run from flanker spots, but they get into the open. Here's the offensive line for Hersey, and they will have their hands full. Clay Chapman anchors it. Deerhog is an outstanding potential receiver. Does a good job. One of the hardest workers in the state. A motion across. And they set up the screen, and the ball was just misthrown by Tobin. He had a man open there, Steve Johnson, on a quick screen. Well, defense for East St. Louis. Middle linebacker Chris Green. They also run an odd front. They're not that big, but very quick. Keno Johnson, for example, plays both ways. He's one of the few who does. At the linebacker spots, Elijah Cobb and Dana Howard. And the backs, Eugene Jones, Darrell Perry, Eddie Robinson, and Steve Bush. That is a good secondary.
Well, not only that, Bill, but I think the offense is so overplayed at East St. Louis that people forget they have a real good defensive football team.
They really do. 3rd down and 8. Tobin's flushed out. He's under heavy pressure. Throw it on the run. Was he inbounds? Let's see. Yes, it's a catch. It's a catch. The ball was caught by Danny Sabatello.
Here's Duke Tobin's flushed out. He comes out, and the receiver comes back for the ball and makes the catch. Tremendous catch inbounds.
Yeah, that ball was a little wobbly when he let go of it, but it was in the area, and Sabatello was able to knock it down, stay in bounds. 1st and 10, Sabatello in motion. The handoff is faked. It goes to pitch to Sabatello. That was a reverse from the flanker spot. And East St. Louis with Eugene Jones, a cornerback. He stayed at home, and boy, did he smell that out.
You know, we mentioned the fact that the East St. Louis has such great offense, and we're going to see the defense where they really excel. There's the pitch, and boom, he's met right now. Yep. Sabatello couldn't get a yard.
No gain, 2nd down and 10. Deerhog is a wideout to the far side. Craig Ellinger, a wideout to the near side. 2nd down and 10. Looking over the middle, Tobin, he's flushed out, tripped. Fell forward for a couple of yards. One defensive lineman managed to get a silly finger on the shoestring there, Vernell Cotton, and he tackled him.
Well, what I was going to say about the East St. Louis Flyers defense is that they're only allowing 56 points all year. That's almost 6 points a game.
Yeah.
And I think people talk so much about the offense, they forget that these people are really good defensive players.
Third down. This is a conversion down, 3rd and 8. Last time they threw to get it. Operating from the near hash mark. No tight end here. They have 4 wideouts. And we had a whistle, perhaps too long. They started to send Sabatello in motion coming across, and then he changed directions.
And Chris Green came across, but he also forced one of the offensive linemen for Hersey to move, so it's against Hersey.
Offsides, and now you have a 3rd down 13. This is a long yardage situation.
And I don't think that's what Hersey Reed wants to do. They don't want to have the defense dictate to them what they have to do. They want to be able to do different things and surprise them with the offense.
Deerhawk to the wide side. Ellinger to the near side. 3rd and 13. Tobin, draw play to Vick. Spins off one tackle, but I'll tell you what, Greg Vick attracted an instant crowd. Vernell Cotton, who is really making his presence felt from that end spot. He's been in on a ton of tackles already.
Well, I think the key today is going to be up front. If Hersey's offensive line can handle the quickness of the Flyers on defense, then we're going to have a football game. If they can't, Hersey may have their hands full.
John Bookout is the punter. Pair of deep men. Alvin Johnson on the near side. Cecil Hawkins to the far side. Bookout gets it. Hits it at his 40. This is a towering, driving punt into the end zone. It'll be a touchback as Alvin Johnson just let it go by. And a 60-yard punt. 7:01 remaining here in the first quarter of play. We have no score. Well, we have 7:01 remaining first quarter of play. There is no score. Bill Hazen and Bill Gorley. This is the 6A championship game, Illinois high school football. And up to the line comes East St. Louis with a quarterback, Vernon Powell. We have contact at the line, and we'll see what this is all about now. Somebody will be marching 5 yards. And it looks like East St. Louis may be headed back. No, the other way.
One of the defensive linemen for Hersey broke the plane. That's why it was called immediately.
All right. So up comes Vernon Powell. Elijah Cobb over the ball at center. Jones and Lampkin in split backs. Handoff goes to Jones, cutting over the left, and Lampkin made a very nice block for him, trying to give him room. He read the block and went inside and gained about 3 yards.
Well, that's one of the lines on Lampkin, is that he can do it all. He's not only just a runner, a bowling ball type, and we'll see it right here. He just comes in, he's a lead blocker.
Bang.
Bangs right in there, and that's one of his attributes. He's also very good coming out of the backfield, being able to catch the ball. He's 5'9", 190, and obviously you can begin to see why he's so highly recruited.
Lampkin, coach was saying that's how he started as a sophomore, because he was such a great blocker. 2nd down, about a yard to go, and Eugene Jones powers for the first down over the 30 to the 31-yard line, and that is a first down for the Flyers, as it was Young Ma who made the stop. He is a down lineman. His hobby is Taekwondo. Very physical player. Young, and it's M.A. his last name. Young Ma.
He certainly made a good play there. I don't know if he used any of his karate there, but he sure got in quick.
There's a good look at him on the down line. 1st and 10. Operating from the far hash mark and double tight again. And this time a tremendous breakthrough, a defensive charge, and Lampkin's caught for a big loss. He stood no chance on that, and shooting the gap. There were a couple of players who got through there. Mike Ferraro, number 55.
I get a chance to see right here. It's Komet. And Komet makes a 2nd stop. And then you have somebody else coming in to finish it off. You have, was it Mike Ferraro?
He's
came
the
in
guy.
there, right? He's the one that made the first stop. And then, of course, Komet came in to finish him off.
3rd down and 14. What a defensive charge. Or 2nd down and 14. Excuse me. Loss of 4. And coming on the end around. They give it to the flanker. Cutting over the near side. Gained a little yardage on it. Alvin Johnson carrying the ball from that wing spot.
And that's just a little wingback counter. And you try to get the flow coming back, and you'll get a chance to see it right here. You go to your wide side. They pull a guard. and they lead the guard. And sometimes people trap it. Here they didn't trap it. They just had it as a lead man. But that's a tough play for a defense, particularly if you're getting a lot of pursuit, to be able to go against the grain.
Yeah, exactly. That's where you usually will get a little break. 3rd down, 7. Conversion down for the Flyers. Let's see what they come up with here. Again, they're in that wing formation, double tight. Down the line, Powell keeps it. Cuts in. I don't think he got it. Boy, Powell looks to me like he has blazing speed. He showed the ability to cut right up the middle there.
Well, you get a chance to see right here, but Hersey defense playing tough. Really tough. They come back inside. There's nothing there for them. I'm really impressed with the way Hersey's playing defense right now.
Mario Malone is on the punt. Single deep receiver for Hersey to handle the return here. Oh, a bad snap. Malone's going to have to cover it. Malone covers it. And a tough break for East St. Louis. That's the first big break of the ball game, and it gives Hersey excellent field position. Wow.
You know, Mario Malone is a punter, but he's really not a person that has those great hands. And you'll see him back here. The snap is right there. He just can't catch it, and that's a typical of a lineman trying to catch a football. You know, I'm sure the Flyers don't have to punt very often, so they haven't had to practice that very much.
That's right, probably so. They don't have much game experience at it because they move the ball so well. Well, here come the Huskies now, and they will come out of their 4 wideout attack. First down, Vick, the fullback, pounding forward, got a couple of yards. And just when you think they put Sabatello in motion, you think the receiving power is all going over, the defense is starting to stretch out to cover it, and bang, you come right up the gut with a fullback.
Well, that's what I said earlier, Bill. They just do so many things off of this offense. Coach Glover, and you see a picture of him right there, went to South Carolina this spring and changed his offense, changed the theories of what he wanted to do. And obviously, when you have a quarterback with the ability that Duke Tobin has, you don't want to just go out of a pro set.
2nd down and 7. Chris Green made the stop on the last play. Sabatello's the man in motion. Tobin's going to look, puts it up on the near side, and underthrows his receiver, Steve Johnson, a guy who has breakaway, big play type speed.
Well, he's one of the few Hersey Huskies that has as good a speed as some of the Flyers, but Duke Tobin right now very impatient, trying to force the ball instead of just letting it go.
And you know, this is not an easy thing. You learn a lot about the personality of a player, how quickly they can adjust to championship game pressure, and all players vary in their ability to do that.
Well, and then of course Hersey has not been in this situation, but the Flyers have, so we'll see how it works out.
3rd down and 7. This is 4 down territory. Sabatello fake to come across. Fake the draw play action. Tobin, he's going to run with it. Tucks it away at the 10, the 5. 1st and goal.
Well, he's got surprising speed. He just ran away from some of those Flyers.
Well, and you know what? He was smart enough to realize that whole side of the field was wide open for him.
Well, here's a good picture of it, Bill. He fakes the draw, comes back out, looks to the side where he had 3 receivers. They're all covered. He just turns it up, and he's a good 3 yards ahead of everybody. And that just shows me the kind of speed that Duke Tobin has.
1st and goal, under 3 minutes remaining first quarter. There's no score in the game. Hersey is down on the East St. Louis goal line, 2 yards away. Greg Vick pounding forward. Oh, and he was stood up. He got a yard or two, and suddenly he hit a stone wall.
Well, he was airborne, Bill, and they caught him right in the air.
Yeah. And we'll see. I want to get that player who really showed a tremendous amount of physical strength. Dana Howard, a sophomore linebacker, the team's leading tackler. That stone wall was numbered 55.
He just caught him in midair and just drove him right back.
Yeah. Gain of about a yard. That's how far they have.
You can see it right there.
Look at the line from ground level. 2nd and goal. Again, Vick leaping. Let's see if he got in. Nope. No touchdown signal. They'll have to try it again. Vick was stopped. It looked like he gained a little there.
He looks like he's taking off too late. He needs to take off maybe about 5 yards deep and go airborne.
Keno Johnson was there on that goal line unit for East St. Louis. And here comes Hersey again. They sent Deerhog well out. Deerhog and Ellinger, but you know they're going to probably attack it inside. Let's see if they do try to sweep here. Man goes in motion. The quarterback will keep it. Tobin gets the touchdown. They faked it to Vick, and then he just took off around the side.
Excellent call, because you had everybody all hunkered down, and Duke Tobin just pulled it out, waltzed right in. Now, here's the key. One of the things you want to do is get East St. Louis down early. This is what Hersey had to do in their game plan. They had to score early to put some pressure on the Flyers to maybe want to throw the ball, maybe become impatient.
Well, and of course, what helps that game plan is that East St. Louis turned it over to them inside the 20. And so it was just a question of pushing the ball in. Bookout will try the extra point. He's 41 of 45. Deerhog is holding. It's a fake. Deerhog looking, throwing. And they do not convert the extra point, and that could be very important.
Bill, it wasn't a fake. What happened was the snap was too high. It was too high, and Deerhog couldn't handle it. Now let's take a look at the touchdown first. There's a good drive. He pulls it out and just steps right in.
Yeah, so that's the six-pointer. And then with a high snap, Deerhog, by that, although he had the ball, he didn't feel comfortable that he could get it down in the timing of the kicker.
Right, and of course, that's the holder has. He has that.
Yeah, that's his choice.
That's his choice.
You bet.
And what they generally call is fire, which means now the receivers go out because something has happened back on the snap.
Yep. So he took off looking for a receiver and could not convert. Minute 31 remaining first quarter, and Hersey has scored for a 6-0 lead. The try for the extra point failed. Bookout never had a chance to kick it, the all-state kicker. And indeed, we were talking about kicking being possibly very important in this game. It well could be, but that's the drive.
And of course, all that because of a mishandled punt.
Yeah.
And you've got a lineman who's got to go back there and catch the ball. You could see his hands going every which way trying to catch the ball. And yeah, you have to believe that they haven't punted very much. And when you have a lineman punting, that's the problem you can have.
Bookout now. He wants to reset. Oh, he goes ahead and kicks it. It didn't go 10 yards. The ball didn't go 10 yards. I thought it was touched by an East St. Louis player. He went up as if he was going to try to re-tee the ball, and then he kicked it. And I thought it was touched by East St. Louis's number 72, Richard Huddleston, inside the 10-yard zone.
Well, Hersey's pulling it all out right here. They want to get possession of that football as fast and as quickly as they can and get a jump on East St. Louis. And now, of course, if he doesn't go the right number of yards, you get the penalty, and the flag is down, and they're discussing it right now.
Yeah. Well, let's see what it's all about. Huddleston came up almost immediately when the ball was kicked, like good smart players should. But I think he hit it, unless the ball just went by him. It was very close.
But it does have to go, and it's a penalty against Hersey. Well, and the Flyers declined it.
All right, there was offsides called on the kickoff, Bill, so apparently somebody else must have been surprised with that other than just us.
Exactly, but it has to go the full number of yards, 10 yards, too.
First down. Vernon Powell leads him up. He has Eugene Jones and Marvin Lampkin behind him in a staggered twin set. And again, they try that wing back around, and not much room for the wing back, Alvin Johnson, on the wing back counter. McDonald was there to knock him off of his feet, a gain of a couple of yards, and that was it.
Right, you can watch Johnson on this play right here. He takes that turn, and again, it's a lead block, but there's no hole there for him to turn in.
Gain of 3, and almost all. Look at the gang tackling there. My goodness, you think these teams are not intense about playing football here? 57 seconds remaining first quarter. Again, double tight with a wingman. They run out of the eye this time. Marvin Lampkin, was he thinking about throwing there for a moment? He gained 3 yards. He started to look outfield, and I was wondering for a moment if he was thinking about putting it up.
Well, I did too, Bill, but I looked for the receivers downfield. We'll get a chance to see it right here. It looks like he went the wrong way.
Look at that.
There was a blown assignment.
Yep.
There was a blown assignment. All the backs had gone to the right. To get going, they have to have the pursuit.
2 seconds left in the first quarter. We've had I think a timeout or a stoppage of play here. You saw the head coach of Hersey coming out onto the field for just a moment, Coach Bruce Glover, to talk with one of the officials. Now, punting situation. Single man going back for Hersey. Remember what happened last time now as Mario Malone couldn't get a hang of the ball. He'll try it again. The ball was right in his hands.
Well, let's see how he catches the ball this time.
Hersey has Jeff Williams as a lone man back. This time he looked at, boy, did he look that ball into his hands, but then he slid the punt off of the side of his foot. It's taking a bad bounce. East St. Louis gets it back at the 30-yard line, and Hersey will finish the quarter with possession of the ball. First quarter comes to an end on a 23-yard punt. We're going to pause. Our score in the ball game is the Huskies of Hersey High School 6 and the Flyers of East St. Louis 0. Now you take a look at one of the Hersey cheerleaders, and we have a 6-0 ball game, and Hersey has been able to somewhat establish its attack a little.
Look at those total yards.
Yeah.
Early in the game, 7 yards for East St. Louis.
Great job for the East St. Louis, for the Hersey defense. For both defenses, really. Neither team has moved it that well. Tobin on the option play. Kept it. The ball came loose. The ball came loose. Steve Johnson fumbled it. Let's see who has it. Could be a big play right here. Everybody's after that football.
Well, the early indication is that Hersey still has it, Bill.
Yeah, all right. Steve Johnson, now here's a young man. He's kind of a free spirit, and he's a guy who determines how the team will play. He's up, he's down. If he's up, boy, he's really tough. If he's down, well, he's just not that consistent in terms of his play yet, but he has the ability. There's no doubt about that.
Well, he's the one person on this football team that can compete with the speed that East St. Louis has.
2nd down and 8, gain of 2 on the play. And again, there, motion Sabatello across. Tobin to throw. Good catch by Deerhog on the near side at the 40-yard line. He was touched immediately there to make sure he was down.
Well, Deerhog has had 27 catches, Bill, for 470 yards, and he has 4 TDs. Now, a good story about him is that he was the quarterback before Duke Tobin arrived, and didn't play much after Duke Tobin arrived. And finally, Coach Glover said, "We've got a place for you. You're an athlete," and put him at receiver, and he's having all kinds of success.
Yeah, and here's a guy with a 5-point grade average on a 5-point scale. He was smart enough to take that. He said, "Hey, I'll tell you what, I'm a smart fella, and that's a chance for me to play, and I want to play."
That's right, and he's doing an outstanding job, and there you see his credits.
You bet. He's sacrificed for his team. 3rd down and 1, gain of 9. This is a conversion down. What do we have here?
Looked like too much time.
Yeah.
Maybe not. I'm never going to second guess an official. Let them make the call.
Well, it's against East St. Louis, so it couldn't have been that.
That's exactly why.
Encroachment.
That's exactly why you don't second guess the officials.
1st down. And Hersey gets one via penalty that time. This is our coverage of IHSA football. Unprecedented coverage. We're covering all 6 classes this year. And we hope you're enjoying our coverage on Sports Vision. The first year, we were here, of course, last year for the 5A and 6A game. This year, we're doing them all. And we're very, very happy to have our association with the IHSA. Trying to bounce outside is Steve Johnson. And, boy, they were ready for Steve Johnson. Came around on a little counter play. Dana Howard.
Dana Howard really put the cruncher on.
Yeah, the lumberjack was out. Loss of 2. And you have a 2nd down, 12 situation here. One thing about this team is 2nd down and long will never bother this team too much because they have the offense to go get it.
That's right. They're not concerned with it, except that they do want to have a certain type of rhythm that goes with the offense.
Ellinger and Deerhog are the wideouts. Sabatello the man in motion. Straight drop back. Deerhog the receiver. At midfield. Oh, look at him go. He dragged 2 tacklers with him. Steve Bush was one of them. And the other one was Eddie Robinson. And he just dragged both of them down the field.
Well, you'll get a chance to see it right here. And you'll also see the cushion that the defensive halfbacks for the East St. Louis are giving. Too much cushion. Look at that. And that, of course, they're so conscious of the fact that Hersey likes to throw, is they're saying we're willing to give the short one. If they're willing to give the short one, Hersey will move the ball right down the field on him.
17-yard play. And, of course, when you give that cushion, you're open for the button hook or any of the comeback routes.
All the curls, everything. And you know, you don't have to get the long one. You just take the ball and possession-type passes up and down the field.
Drive that defender off the line and come back. 1st and 10. And in motion, that leaves nobody behind. The quarterback draw Tobin. I don't think that's what he intended. as his fullback, Vic, went to the far side. He fell down. I wonder if they had a screen set up there. He wasn't looking that way. Chris Green and Huddleston finally made the stop on what appeared to be a broken play.
And, of course, you had 5 receivers. Now, you'll see this right here. He's going back. I don't know, Bill. It looked like he may have had the draw because he showed strength to the left side of the field, and he wanted to come back to the weak side, hoping that they were outnumbering East St. Louis offensively.
Vic is the single back. Tobin to throw, 2nd down and 10. Puts it up in the air, and that pass just didn't have a lot on it. Ellinger was in the area. So was Steve Johnson. I think Johnson was the target.
You know, a point to make here is that East St. Louis has seen this type of offense before. They played Homewood Flossmoor. Homewood Flossmoor also runs out of the run and shoot. Yeah. Now, they do some different things as opposed to what Hersey does, but nevertheless, the concept is there, and East St. Louis is not really riled by the fact that Hersey is showing this kind of offense, and it's not totally new to them.
Yeah, 3rd down and 10, and they've had success defending it before.
That's correct.
9:20 remaining in the 2nd quarter. Sabatello comes across. Draw play is faked. Way downfield. And Steve Johnson catches it around the 10.
Bill, that was an outstanding play by a receiver. This is what you teach your young man to do when he's catching the football. He comes back for the ball. You'll see it right here. He goes in motion, fakes the draw. Good fake on the draw. Tobin doesn't throw it as particularly well, but look at him come back for the ball.
Yeah, excellent play. Very good play. It'll be 1st and 10 at about the 10-yard line, and we'll have to wait until they set the chains to see if they can actually get a 1st down or not. In fact, they haven't moved the chains even now. And 29 yards on the pass play.
There's the numbers on Duke Tobin. He's thrown the ball 6 times, 4 completions. That certainly wasn't picture perfect, and Steve Johnson was the one that made that play go.
1st and 10. The nose of the football is just outside the 10. They can get a 1st down without scoring. About a foot. Sabatello goes in motion. There's the pitch to him. To the 5. That time, instead of going right across, he took a further back route in his motion, and he ended up with the ball on the pitch.
See, that's what makes this Hersey offense so dangerous. The way they run the option. You can't just defend against the pass. You've got to defend the option as well. And that makes it difficult because you can't give young people, even on a college level, that many assignments to be able to cover and hope that they can do a good job.
2nd down and 4. Deerhog has plenty of room receiving to the near side. Ellinger to the far side. Put Johnson in motion. Here he is. Putting his head down. Trying to power his way. He gets down inside the 2. To about the 1-yard line before Dana Howard. Big number 55, the team's leading tackler, was there again. The nose of that football is on the 1-yard line.
Let's take a look right here. Now watch the way he pitches the ball. He doesn't really give you that arch to go under and fall and get the ball in. He just pitches it straight out, which is really a difficult pitch to handle. Obviously, they've been doing it all year, so the backs are accustomed to it. But in a normal option offense, the ball has a little bit of float to it, and it falls into their hands.
Here you are, goal line formation. It's a spread formation again for Tobin. And what do we have here? Contact?
Contact by East St. Louis. Let's see what the call is.
And East St. Louis is saying one of the Hersey linemen jumped, and it appears to be that way. They're headed back. It might have been Mike DeLatour. You saw a picture of him. Yes, that's the case. Let's see. Yes, you can see the movement.
But you have to be very disciplined when you're an offensive lineman. It's almost like the kid that's in school, and when somebody takes a smack at you, you just have to stand there and say, okay.
There's Mike DeLatour. He's the left guard. He was offside. He's the long snapper as well, a guy who bench presses 315 pounds. We don't want to strictly feature the offensive linemen when they're offside. So we want you to know this is a very good football player.
Well, and the thing that I think this offensive line has had to do has been the possibility of pass blocking.
Tobin to the end zone for Johnson. And a touchdown. There's a flag, Bill. We'll see what it's all about. The touchdown will probably stand up. If it's pass interference, it'll be assessed on the following kickoff.
Another outstanding catch by Steve Johnson, but he had to reach over to catch it. Now you have to wonder, is it pass interference offensively or defensively?
We'll wait and see.
They called it. They call it. It's against East St. Louis.
So it'll be assessed after the kickoff. Alvin Johnson was there defending. I'll tell you, that was an amazing catch by Steve Johnson. He had to go up and wrap his arm around Alvin Johnson to catch the ball.
Alvin lost sight of the football. He turned on Steve Johnson. Steve Johnson kept his eye on the ball, went over Alvin Johnson's back to make the catch.
And so we'll have an extra point try. John Bookout is on. No, they're going to go for 2. They will go for 2. They missed on the other one. They're going to try to get 2 back right here. Vick is the lone setback. Johnson goes in motion. Rolling that way is Tobin. He's under heavy pressure. Throws at the last minute. They got it! No, incomplete. He dropped the ball. Greg Vick. I thought he had it, and the ball popped out.
Well, I think he did have it, Bill, and then when he hit the ground, the ball fell down. You know, sometimes when you miss that first extra points, you get in behind, and you feel that you have to go for the 2, and every time you do that, you're falling a little further behind. Now, here's a good picture of the pressure that Duke Tobin got from East St. Louis. There's the catch. Now he goes down. Oh, he dropped the ball before he went down. You see, it's the angles. We don't have them. Thank goodness for the truck.
We're right back. Hersey by a dozen. Well, the Huskies of Hersey High School have come out here, put 12 points on the board. We're in the second quarter with 7.5 minutes remaining. And they have more or less thrown the challenge to East St. Louis here.
They are smoking. Yep. They wanted to score early. They've come out and done it. They've had a couple of opportunities, and they've taken advantage of them, Bill.
John Bookout will kick off. And this time he puts it deep. There will be no return, I don't think. There will be a return. He put it right to the goal line. Up the middle. Hawkins across the 20. And that's about all he gets. Take a look at that.
Let's take a look at that touchdown we talked about, where Steve Johnson catches the ball over Alvin's. You'll see it right here. See, the defender lost sight of the football. So he had to play the man instead of the ball. And, of course, that's a mistake that most defenders have to do. And here's a good example. 10 plays, 69 yards. Yep. Steve Johnson with the reception from Tobin.
1st and 10. East St. Louis needs to get their offense going here. At the 21-yard line. Again, they run. Well, they have a single tight end now. They're showing a little bit more of a wideout look. Vernon Powell, the ball fumbled loose. Let's see, he recovers. A flag flies. A couple of flags fly. The ball goes into the end zone. That won't count. You cannot advance a fumbled ball that is on the ground. So this is coming back. We'll wait and see. I don't know who's going to end up with possession. It depends upon where the foul was called here, Bill.
Well, and it wasn't called before the fumble. That's the big concern right here.
Face mask,
face
on the tackle.
So
that's why he went down the way he did.
I see. So now East St. Louis retains possession.
You'll see an example of this right here, Bill. There's the face mask grab right there.
Oh yeah.
And that's
oh my goodness.
Now whether it's inadvertent, and it is not inadvertent, that's the big one. That's the one that they say is on purpose.
Yep. Frank Comet there, the All-Stater, won the Chicago Sun-Times, Chicago Tribune team, the Daily Herald, nominated as a Bally All-American, and boy, he just hog-tied quarterback Vernon Powell.
Pretty tough not to grab that mask.
Yeah, not easy. But
especially
boy,
when you're aggressive.
Took a real good yank at him. Second down about a yard after the yardage was assessed, and that time they give it to their bread and butter man, Marvin Lampkin. He leaped for the first down, and so the first down is established. They had lost 6 yards on the play, and so the 15 assessed against it left them with 1 to get, and that's what they did there.
You can't say enough about the down defensive linemen for Hersey, because they are getting tremendous penetration, enabling their linebackers to come in and make the play, and then of course you've got those defensive backs coming up.
1st and 10. It's Strong to the tight side of the field. They hand it. Lampkin pounding away, and I'll tell you what, he's finding the yardage really tough. There's that matchup we told you about. Big Frank Comet made the tackle on Lampkin.
And he's talking to Lampkin too.
And saying, I'm the best player in the state.
You'll see an example of this. Watch Frank Comet. Makes a little move inside, surprises East St. Louis, and then comes in and makes the tackle.
Boy, he's a load, isn't he? And he brought down a player who has a lot of leg drive. Lampkin has tremendous leg drive. We know that. 2nd down and 9. Wing formation. Everybody's tight this time. Play action fake. Powell flushed out of there. He's taking off with it. Oh, Vernon Powell. He's close to that first down. I'm amazed he was able to get outside so fast.
Bill, I was just going to say this prior to this. And you have to go with play action. Here's Vernon Powell. Looks inside, then turns to the outside. And that's when a quarterback is is really dangerous because, particularly with Vernon Powell, who has outstanding speed, he gets to the outside and he causes some breakdowns in the defense.
Mark Gunther finally made the stop. It's third down, less than a yard. Double tight formation with a wingback, and they give it to Eugene Jones, who gets the first down. He was a wingback earlier in the year. He's such a good runner, though, they decided he'd be great for that fullback spot.
Well, you've got a couple of people. Vernon Powell, the quarterback, was a flanker, and then you have a wingback in Eugene Jones, so they obviously changed people around to be able to accommodate what they want to do offensively.
12-0 Hersey. East St. Louis is on a drive. 5:09 remaining first half. And the Flyers are trying to get off the ground here and get going offensively. Lampkin sweeping, forced inside. Oh, and he got free for some good yardage there. We got some real banging going on down on that field, I'll tell you.
There's two determined football teams, and they want this championship, and you'll see a good example. Look at the penetration by Hersey defense. Linebackers just overran it. And look at that leg drive. That's what you were talking about. Good example of that leg drive by Lampkin.
And he just took Komet and he moved him 3 yards. So right there, Lampkin answered the challenge to Komet that time and said, this is the way I do it. Second down and 4. It's an end around again. Done that wingback counter play, and it was Alvin Johnson, and he should have the first down. He got down to the 45 in Hersey territory.
There's 2 plays that the East St. Louis Flyers need to use in order to take that rush. One of them, you're going to see right here, is the wingback counter. There's the lead. No trap, just a lead. Actually, if he had turned it up to the inside a little bit more, he may have made some more yardage. But that's one play, and the other one is the play-action pass.
First and 10, 44-yard line. Powell looking to throw. Up the middle, and it's caught. A sensational catch. The ball came loose. Incomplete. He had it. Kenny Robinson, the left end, had it, but as he hit the ground, he could not hold on to the football.
Well, obviously, Bob Shannon is on the right tune because he comes up with the play-action pass right here. Right down the middle, wide open.
Oh, brother.
And then, of course, at the last minute, he drops the football.
Yeah, that would have been, at the very least, a big gain. Second down and 10.
Kenny Robinson, 20 receptions, 470. Look at the average catch, 23 yards a catch.
Yeah, they play action faked on the counter. Powell going deep again, same target. And overthrows Kenny Robinson as they tried to go deep with pass coverage there, provided by Kurt Vansalo for Hersey.
Now, this is what Hersey wanted the East St. Louis team to do. Panic, get an early lead, let them throw the football. It's the one thing they can't do real well. Discourage the running game, which they're doing, and force them to throw the football.
Third down and 10. Yeah, it really takes the ball out of their big play backs.
And you see Coach Shannon frustrated because he's not able to do the kinds of things that they have had success with offensively.
Well, let's see what they come back with here. They have a single tight end, 2 wideouts. Play action fake, Powell to throw, puts it up. It is deflected and nearly intercepted. That was an opportunity there for one of the linebackers, Chris Kennedy.
Well, you'll see Chris Kennedy right here. Powell's back to throw the ball. Oh, an inch or 2 here or there, and interception.
An inch or 2, and it might have been in there, too. He had his receiver, and then Kennedy. That was a tremendous defensive play because they had Kenny Robinson coming across.
Yes, and just a little curl cut, and that's all it takes. And Coach Bob Shannon talking to his offense right here, saying, hey, let's settle down, guys.
Yeah, well, there's plenty of time. This is a big play team. They can do it. There's no reason for East St. Louis to panic here.
But that's some football teams would because they're down 12-0 the championship game. And that's probably exactly what he's telling them. Hey, guys, let's just take one at a time. We'll get it. Just take our time. Don't worry about it.
I have one to take right here.
Okay, let's
We'll
go.
remind everybody the broadcast rights to today's Class 6A state championship game have been granted to Sports Vision by the Illinois High School Association. Any reproduction or rebroadcast of this event without the written consent of Sports Vision and the IHSA is strictly prohibited. Well, wherever you're viewing, here around the Midwest or around the country for that matter, we send belated Thanksgiving weekend greetings to everybody. And we have some strong football. They're going to go for it here in 4th and 10. Powell rolling out. Puts it in the air. Split. Pass is blocked. He caught the deflection. He caught the deflection. It's an incomplete.
Can't catch your own ball.
There is a rule in there about
That's
that
right.
somewhere.
That's right.
You cannot catch your own pass. That's exactly the reason that was put in there.
That's right.
But it's great to watch it.
You know, you have to wonder here. Now you've got some people starting to think when you go 4th and 10 at midfield, and you'll see a good example here. The Flyers coming out to throw. They have to throw. They're rolling out. Good coverage.
Yeah.
Hersey's right there, right in his face. Then he catches the ball.
And that coverage was provided by one of the Hersey defenders. It was a linebacker, a lineman coming across. Mark Gunther did a great job. 1st and 10. Tobin throws it, and he has his receiver, Sabatello, but he trapped the ball. And Sabatello thought that was a catch.
Well, and of course the official was on the inside, so I'm not sure he had a good view of that. But we'll get a chance to see it right here ourselves. Maybe we can have instant replay for the officials. There's Duke Tobin throwing the ball. Sabatello. I think it touched the ground.
Yes, indeed, it was.
That's all right. Good acting job.
And acting is a part of the game. Let's not forget that 2nd down and 10. Four wideouts again. Vick is the only setback behind Tobin. Steve Johnson motioning across. Tobin looks the other way. Puts it in the air. He has Ellinger across the 50 to the 48-yard line. Did not get the 1st down, but got some good yardage as Dwayne Rose was there on pass coverage for East St. Louis.
And what's happening, Bill, again, it's the cushion that the defenders for East St. Louis are giving the receivers for Hersey. They're not coming up and playing aggressive. You have to play aggressive on a pass.
3rd down and 2. There's a look at the Hersey sideline and their head coach, Bruce Glover, who has done an outstanding job. He is a Northern Illinois grad. And we'll have timeout taken by Bruce Glover and his staff. Bruce had a very tough baptism at Hersey. His first year they went 1-8, you know, and of course, as you say, they had a tough year last year. And they paid for playing the young guys. Tobin, they played him as a sophomore. And they had a lot of elements that didn't fit last year, but it's amazing how they've all fit together this year.
Right. I think the real interesting note is that they weren't a team at the end of the year where they were getting necessarily better because they lost their last 3 games. So it isn't a team that came on at the end of the year and improved and then came into this season. They lost their last 3 games. They were bombed in their last 3 games.
Yeah.
But they decided they had some personnel. They needed to change their offense. And when they did that, the success came.
Yeah, and the Chicago Bulls are hoping they'll have more success. They're on the road down in Texas. They won their first 5 road games of the year, and they hope to continue their work as they take on Akeem Abdul-Olajuwon and the Houston Rockets. 7 p.m. The Bulls beat with Doug Collins, followed by Bulls basketball, Jim Durham, and Johnny Kerr on hand to call it for you right here on Sports Vision. Chicago's winners on cable. And right here we're watching 2 winning football teams. And some of the fans who've come from all over the state of Illinois to take part here in the championship festivities at Normal here on the campus of Illinois State. We have a 3rd down and 2. Tobin, single back set once again. And, well, what do we have here? I think we have another lineman.
Movement on the offensive line.
You know, one thing that Bob Shannon did for East St. Louis, they went for it on 4th and 10, but that shows one thing. He has confidence in his offense. B, he has a lot of confidence in his defense to stop Hersey.
Right, but on the other hand, you have to wonder how that affects the East St. Louis team when they don't make it, and you're putting the pressure on your defense.
Yeah, indeed. 3rd down and 6. We may have a change in the play.
Look at the penalty yardage. 6 on Hersey, and a majority of them with changing counts.
3rd and 6. Tobin, quarterback draw. 1st down. Got to the sideline. Smart play. Very smart play. And again, as he did before, there was room to run on that left side of the defense.
Well, they cleared the area out. Now, you'll see a good example of this. He's going to the strong side, which is to his right. He knows that everyone is clear, so he just goes to the short side of the field, and he has the kind of speed. He shows me a lot with his foot speed when he can run away from those type of people.
Not bad. Not bad.
Because they have excellent speed, not only with the down linemen, linebackers as well, and their defensive halfbacks in the secondary.
1st and 10 at the East St. Louis 40-yard line. Steve Johnson is the motion man. Tobin to throw. Overthrows Ellinger at the 30-yard line with pass coverage from Dwayne Rose for East St. Louis. Well, you talk about Tobin. He has played a deciding role in the last 2 games. He ran for a big first down on an ad-lib scramble against Libertyville. He did the same thing against Naperville North. He is used to doing that and coming up with the big plays. And of course, if you're a defense, you really have to worry about what that number 9 can do.
Right, and you're not down and distance doesn't concern them that much. And if they missed the pass last time, they'll come back and throw it again. So they're not that concerned when they don't have success on every play.
Johnson in motion, puts 3 receivers to the right. Tobin looking that way and overthrows Sabatello off of his hands. He had him. I don't know how far he would have gotten.
Now on that play, Hersey sent out 5 receivers. So that takes a little of the heat off of the inside running game, obviously, if you've got 5 receivers. But who's going to run the ball other than Tobin?
Well, that's right. There's nobody left. Nobody left, so you have to do it that way unless you try an end around or some type of a counter, I guess, but that's about it. They've got everybody spread well out. This spreads the defense out. Ellinger far, Deerhog to the near side. This is a 3rd down and 10. Johnson in motion. Tobin sets. Up over the middle, Ellinger, and oh, did he get rocked. Incompleted pass. And it was Alvin Johnson who was carrying the lumber, and boy, did he load it.
We'll see Alvin Johnson right now. This is what I was talking about, playing an aggressive pass defense. The catch is made. It's there. Now watch Alvin Johnson. Boom! Football goes down.
Yeah. And that's what good defensive teams try to do.
There's another action shot of it. Oh, look at that hit. Boy, you can that looks like you're getting hit by a runaway train.
Oh, my goodness. Boy, you could just see his shoulder flopping around there. 4th down, Bookout is in the punt.
Now, this is where a good kicking game comes to the front.
Hawkins and Alvin Johnson are the deep backs. Hawkins to the near side of the field in a twin safety. Bookout punts it. It's over toward Alvin Johnson. To the sideline, out of bounds. Good coffin corner kick inside the 20.
Now, of course, Hersey wants to play field position, force the Flyers to make a mistake deep in their territory.
Well, Bob Shannon was right. His defense did stop Hersey cold. They got the job done, but now it's a field position situation. They have 90 yards to go.
The psychological effect we talked about before changed because they did do a good job. If they had scored, you would have had to wonder how the players felt about that decision.
Yeah. But it worked for East St. Louis. But now they have to go 90 yards. They got 3:03 to do it, and they trail 12-0. Strong right formation. Strong to the short side of the field. Powell on the run. Good strike in there as he hits his receiver coming across Kenny Robinson, the left end. Boy, what a throw.
Well, they flooded the area, and of course he rolled out. And of course that draws everybody. You'll see it right here. As he rolls out, there's 3 receivers in one area. So he has a choice.
Perfect.
And he takes it, throws it to Kenny Robinson, and of course there's the play. And you're forcing East St. Louis to do the one thing that they would not like to do, that being throwing the football. And you have to wonder just how Hersey will adjust to their throwing the football as opposed to being geared up for the run.
We'll see the measure here. And it looks like they're short. About 6 inches. Maybe a foot. And that's it. So you have a 2nd down. Very short yardage, a possible gambling down. Kenny Robinson, give you an idea, he is the defending 100-yard dash champ. I'll tell you what, if he gets it, nobody's going to catch him.
Well, that's right. See, they have a big play offense, so you really have to take and hold them down all the time. Just because you're inside the 10 doesn't mean you can hold them down without them going the full length of the field. You may hold them 1 play, but you've got to be able to do it for 3 plays. And here's where you really want to force the Flyers to be able to punt the ball because they just don't have a good punting unit.
Strong to the open side this time with an I formation. They hand it to Lampkin on a cross puck. Coming across, big gain. 1st down, easy. He got to the 30. The clock rolls at 2:40 remaining and counting. Kurt Vansalo was there in the safety.
And that's the best run for Lampkin all day. Now, he just took and went against the grain. And there's 2 missed tackles, 3 missed tackles. That hasn't happened very often today with Hersey. They've had a lot of people around the ball, and they've really put the clamps on him.
What do we have here? Up when we had somebody lost some equipment there, a chin strap or something.
Mouth guard.
Yeah.
And you can't start a play without a mouth guard.
Well, there you are. So the clock is stopped, which had cycled down to 2:34. East St. Louis. The kicking game has been a big factor. A block punt, Then some very good kicking for Hersey.
Well, and then, of course, you had the missed extra point.
Yeah, and that's been a factor in the game. Powell to throw, going well down the field. Overthrew Steve Johnson, and he had him. That was a touchdown. That was labeled TD right there.
Well, it certainly was. And, of course, Kenny Robinson, your 100-yard sprint champion, showed why he's the sprint champion right there.
Man. Yep. Kenny Robinson, the defending 100-yard dash champ in Illinois. He runs a 10.54 in the 100 meters. His thing is hands, and he's learning to catch the ball. Like you'd liken it a little bit to Willie Gault, what he's had to learn in the NFL. Not easy to catch that spear. 2nd and 10 at the 31. Little play action fake. Powell to the far side. Has his man at midfield. Going down the sideline, Alvin Johnson inside the 40. A big play for the Flyers, and it looks like they're getting ready to fly right now. Kurt Vanselo knocked him over the sideline with a touchdown-saving tackle.
We'll see Kurt Vanselo right here, and then you'll see Alvin Johnson. I'll tell you what, Melvin Powell throws a nice football.
He does. That's a perfect throw.
That's a nice catch, and there's Vanselo coming in to make the tackle.
Vernon Powell, this is a very heady young man, and he does have a good arm on him. The clock is at 2:17. He went over the sideline. Of course, that stops the clock. So those sideline routes are great for that because that gives you more time to milk.
Yeah, they're looking for the... we're having a mouth guard problem every time. The play, and he loses his mouth guard.
Yeah, you saw that Hersey player just running across there. He had lost his mouth guard. And so they'll try it again here. I think that was Mark Gunther having a little trouble holding on.
Yeah, those mouth guards can be a pain in the neck, but they sure save your teeth.
Well, that's right. And there's nothing wrong with that. Ask any hockey player, he'll tell you. 1st and 10. Nose of the football near the 40-yard line at the far hash mark. Powell goes upstairs again. Deflected and nearly intercepted. What an opportunity for Dave Platt. And it was right there. He just flat out couldn't hang on to the ball.
Well, you'll get a chance to see it right here. Melvin Powell airs it out. And Platt's right there. It looks like he didn't time his leap quite as well as he would like to have. And it went right through his hands. Of course, he's got those gloves on, so sometimes it happens.
2nd down and 10. All right, Coach. I know. I'd never wear gloves playing for you. Tight formation. Double tight end set. Alvin Johnson coming around on the reverse. Puts his head down. Got good yardage on it. About a 6-yard on the wing back counter again.
If Alvin Johnson ever turns it up all the way inside, he has 6 points.
Yeah.
He tends to want to run it out, and a lot of times that play will develop because people will go to the strength side and they'll overrun the play, and you just turn the ball up inside and it's a touchdown. Now there's the numbers on Melvin Powell.
3rd down and 4. Big play. Lampkin sweeping. He's going to get the first down here. He is not going to be stopped. I tell you, once you saw him get outside, he was not going to be denied. Jimmy Kruer was there. Dave Platt was there. But to be honest with you, Kruer just didn't have the pursuit angle to stop him.
No, and you see what's happening now is Hersey came into the game thinking stop, run, force the pass. Now, East St. Louis is mixing up the offense, and Hersey can't gang up on that run. And so you're trying to get Marvin Lampkin, out to the outside, and he obviously has the speed. I don't know when the last time he had 9 rushes and only 27 yards. Yeah. But certainly the passing is going to open up the running game.
Minute 15, a first down. Powell thought about keeping it, puts it in the air, and it is off of the fingertips of Steve Johnson, or Kenny Robinson, excuse me, who was trying to haul in the ball. Mark Sunderland was there on pass coverage. Kenny Robinson kind of climbed the ladder to get it. The ball was not that well thrown.
No, you'll see it here. Melvin Powell just fakes it, fakes the play, comes out, looks like he's going to run the ball, and then the last minute pulls it out. Actually,
it was catchable, wasn't it?
It was catchable. It was you would have had to make a tremendous catch, but certainly in the vicinity where you could catch the ball.
Yeah.
You know, coming into today's game, East St. Louis was ranked number 10th in the country. Now, not in the state, but in the country in USA Today. So they are certainly no slouches in terms of the ability that we're seeing today.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we had a holding call against East St. Louis. You can wipe off the play. They get the down back, but they have a long way to go. first down and 22 from the point where the foul occurred. So that must have been I think a 10-yard holding call there. Staggered backfield now, double tight end set. They faked the wing-back reverse there, and Powell just slipped. He just slipped and fell, and Frank Kmet was there to lock him up. But, of course, the moment his knee touched, it was a dead play. Loss.
Well, there's Coach Shannon. He wants timeout. He wants to be able to talk to his people.
Oh, he's not
You'll
happy.
see it right here. They fake the inside trap, and Vernon Powell comes out and then slips. He just outright slipped, and it's easy to see why you slip on that turf.
Yeah, you know what it was? He had Kmet coming down on him. He wanted to step inside of Kmet, and he had to make a real hard cut, and with the turf, well, there, you're down.
Vernon Powell wanted to make that cut inside, as you said. It's very difficult to stop with the way that field is, because there's a lot of water down there. When we were down there doing the interview, I noticed how much water there was, and it can be slippery if you want to make a cut right on a dime.
No doubt about it. This is a crown field, but it's a relatively low crown, and it's a good draining field, but we have had a lot of rain, and beyond a certain point, the field can't drain more than a certain point.
It's saturated.
Yep, it is indeed. Up they come, 55 seconds remaining here in the first half. East St. Louis trailing by a dozen, 12-0. Bill Hazen and Bill Gorley in Sports Vision. Second down, long yardage. They set up a screen play. It's a middle screen. And some running room, but not a whole heck of a lot. As Eugene Jones, the fullback, carried the ball. Set up the screen to the near side. He got some of it back, but he's going to be about 19 yards short.
Well, you'll see the setup of the screen right here. Vernon Powell looks to the right, then comes back with a screen, and it's a moving screen where you get the lineman out in front of you. And Hersey really played that well.
Yeah, they did. They had a lot of people in the area, didn't they? Powell with a straight pass block. Going way upstairs. It's intercepted. Intercepted at the 15-yard line. Down the field comes Kurt Vanselo as he picked off the pass. The leading interceptor for Hersey, and that stopped the drive with 7 seconds on the clock.
Well, he's a free safety, and he just hung back there like a center fielder, waiting for that. He knew it was coming down the middle because he saw the receiver, and Kurt Vanselo just picks it off. And you'll see you'll see it right here. You see the center fielder, you can just see his legs at the top. He's looking for it. The receiver is over to the right, and he just picks it right off.
Vanselo, he is 6'3", and look at him go with that big frame of his. Boy, for free safety, he is a big young man.
Well, you like to have somebody 6'3" there playing center field for you.
And they go into the victory formation as Tobin just drops a knee, and that'll be the end of the first half of play. And so Hersey will take a 12-point lead to the locker room here at halftime in the 6A. And Hersey has come out and surprised East St. Louis. And the undefeated Flyers will have their work cut out for them. They're going to have to roll up their sleeves in the second half. We have a 12-0 ball game at half. And coming up, Bill and I will be commenting on the first half of play, what we've seen here today. And then Bill will be visiting with the Executive Secretary of the IHSA, Mr. Liz Estrog. That'll be at halftime. We'll review the highlights as well. Our score at half, Hersey 12, East St. Louis nothing. Well, we have a ball game here at half, 12-0. The Huskies of Hersey High School on top of the Flyers of East St. Louis. To the moment in the season, East St. Louis has not tasted defeat, but in order to win again today and keep their perfect string alive and winning a state title, they're going to have a very strong second half against what is an outstanding defensive unit, Bill.
Well, Hersey really is a surprise because they came out smoking, Bill. They wanted to score early. They wanted to put the pressure on. I have to believe that their game plan is going according to, so they say, Hoyle.
Oh, yeah, you're right, exactly. I think turnovers were a factor here early in this game, and the kicking game, which you and I had talked about off camera and off of the microphone before we started the show, has turned out to be very important.
Well, you have to wonder when you see East St. Louis go back into a punting situation. They haven't had to do that very often. They have a lineman who's doing the punting, and linemen have a tough time catching a football.
That's what we saw with Mario Malone. The ball was right back at shoulder height, right just about where the microphone is here. Couldn't have been snapped back any better.
Well, it looked like he was clapping his hands, and he's going this way to try and catch it. So they do have some difficulty there, and Hersey wisely put pressure on, and they were able to convert. That's the secret, is you get a team in trouble, can you convert? And, of course, Hersey has.
How has East St. Louis handled the defensive pressure, the line pressure that Hersey has been able to generate with Komet and all the other big guys?
Well, they've done two things. Number one, they've gone to the pass. And again, I have to believe that Hersey felt they wanted to force him to pass. However, I don't think Hersey realized they have as good a passing attack as they really do, because Vernon Powell throws the ball very well. The other thing that they've tried to do is go inside with a wingback lead. They don't have a wingback trap, but obviously they must have a pass off of that too. So you'll see some adjustments, I'm sure. Coach Shannon has not won 84 football games without making good adjustments at halftime.
I'm sure they will make adjustments. Coming up, we're going to be welcoming Liz Astroff, the executive secretary of the IHSA, and a man who really is responsible, largely responsible for the day-to-day operations of the IHSA. And he'll be visiting with Bill, and we'll find out what's going on these days with the IHSA and how the future looks for that organization. Here at half, where East St. Louis trails Hersey by a dozen.
Live from Hancock Stadium in Bloomington, Illinois, where the championship games for the Illinois High School Association, and with me is Liz Astroff, the executive secretary for the Illinois High School Association. Liz, I know it's cold up here. Can't you do something about this weather here in Bloomington?
I wish we could, but this happens in the football playoffs every once in a while. But we've been very blessed so far for the rest of the season.
Well, at least we got rain and not snow.
Yes, no, I don't feel too much rain up here, Bill, but maybe it is down on the field. The field's awful wet, though. I've walked around on it, and it's almost insole high.
But thank goodness it stopped raining so that at least we can see a good football game here for the 6A, which is really the centerpiece of all the playoff games.
That's true, and I think that the passing has been remarkable for the kind of a footing that we have, except when the players have to go to their right. They have a little trouble when they plant their foot, they skid, but the throwing has still been pretty darn good in this kind of weather.
Well, it's been excellent. I've really enjoyed watching the game. And Liz, something's happened here for the first time since the championship series has started. We've had 5 football games, and we've had 5 Catholic schools win championships. I know that people are going to be talking about Catholic schools and the kind of recruiting and the areas that they have. What are your feelings in terms of the Catholic schools winning the championships?
Well, I have no feeling for it. We've kept very good statistics over the 14 years. It's been on occasion 2 years ago when all 6 schools could have won the championship, being a private or a parochial school, maybe Catholic. I don't know. This is the first time it's ever happened. They've been on other occasions 5 schools could have won, and a couple of them have 1 or 3, but they hit the jackpot today. All 5 of them did, and we will get allegations that they have no geographic boundaries. They can pick and choose students, and probably, Bill, part of it is our format change. When I was in charge of the football playoffs, we picked conference champions, and teams that were in conferences picked up that enrollment. But now we pick the 192 teams, and then we compare them by enrollment or pair them by enrollment, and so that makes them very close together on enrollment size. Now the geographic boundaries come into play because they'll say the students are coming from other than the community where the high school is located.
Well, you have one of those jobs where you can never be right. You can't satisfy everybody 100%.
No, we can't do that, but we will always evaluate the program to see, and this is one of the things. 2 years ago we had a private school, public school, 18-man committee, and this is the big issue then was geographic boundaries. But that committee thought better of it for the private schools, the way they operate, and they're still members of the school, our IHSA.
Right, and the recommendation was they wanted the parochial schools to go into a league by themselves, which really would take away from the competition.
Yeah, we have some detractors in the state. Some think that they should have their own playoff system but be a part of the IHSA. Then we have other detractors that say they shouldn't be in the IHSA because they're not in geographic boundaries when it comes to interscholastic athletics.
Well, and some people in the southern part of the state don't feel they should come up to Chicago to play, so that's why we're playing here in Bloomington.
That's right. We always try to get into the central part of the state for all the competitors.
Well, one thing for sure, you know that a Catholic school is not going to win the 6A because you have 2 public schools playing, and East St. Louis, of course, holding the pride of the other part of the state, and Hersey saying, wait a minute, the north side is just as good as the East St. Louis area. And Roxana played an outstanding game. I thought they played real well. I thought they were surprised in this whole tournament.
Well, that was my sentimental favorite because I grew up in Roxana.
So, is that right?
So I was kind of rooting for them in a way, but they were an excellent football team. They really were, and I think that the injury hampered them from winning probably.
I think so too, and I thought they were really well prepared, and they really surprised me. And of course, a lot of people in the state of Illinois didn't even know where Roxana was located. I talked to the Chicago Motor Club. They didn't even know. I had to find out on a map that someone gave me at the intersection of 111 and 143.
That is correct. I had many inquiries about where they got their nickname, the Shells, but when I grew up there, my dad was fire chief of that community, and that was the second largest shell refinery in the world, right there in Roxana. That's where the name came from.
Well,
Shells.
I thought that was really interesting that they donated the school and they funded the school, and I just made a little comment to Bill Hazen, the other announcer, and said that the Roxana Shells probably have the largest card-carrying alumni in the United States.
That's true. Well, we're very proud of it. I'm very proud to be from Roxana.
Well, Liz, I appreciate it, and I know the job you have is a difficult one, and we're certainly enjoying this series, and Sports Vision is really happy to bring it.
Thank you, Bill. And we really appreciate Sports Vision doing the job for us. We really enjoy it, and I know that the fans will.
It's a halftime of the 6A championship game, and we'll be returning with the highlights right after this message.
You betcha. That's where the red light is. There's a fan happy to cheer her favorite team along. I think that's one of the Hersey fans right now. And a 12-0 Hersey lead here at half. Bill Hazen back with Bill Gorley. And it was interesting to hear the thoughts of Liz Astroth here at half about the IHSA and about what they're doing, some of the challenges that they face. And but we have seen an excellent football game here, Bill. We've seen some outstanding individual plays. We're going to take a look at several of them. And first of all, we talked a lot about Duke Tobin at the top of the program and what he's going to have to do. And take a look at this bootleg here.
Well, this is just a little play-action fake. He keeps looking to his left. And the thing that surprises me about him is his foot speed. And we saw a good example of it right there. He just runs away from the defenders from East St. Louis.
And then Tobin caps off the touchdown with a good run. You remember this one?
Yes, and they had they had actually given it the ball to the tailback on 2 previous plays. Tobin this time pulls it out and just steps in for the touchdown.
That's right. Vick had tried to get there twice and couldn't, so Tobin took it across. That made it 6-0. They failed to get the extra point when the snap was a little bit high. Then Tobin on his second down as he hits Steve Johnson.
Well, Steve Johnson makes a tremendous catch here. He's actually interfered with, but he comes back over the shoulder of Alvin Johnson to make the catch. And Alvin Johnson just lost sight of the football and played the man for man to Steve Johnson. Never lost his concentration.
That made it 12-0. They tried for a 2-point conversion, couldn't get it. Then this interception by Kurt Vanselo to stop an East St. Louis drive.
Right, just before the half, Bill. And he's a 6'3" center fielder. He had it in his eyes all the way, makes the interception, just steps up in front of the East St. Louis receiver, Kenny Robinson.
And look at him go. That's a proud moment for any defensive back. He loves to get that football and run with it. And the Husky fans, you bet they're a happy bunch right now, as their team is ahead by a dozen at 12-0. We're set for a second half kickoff when we return. Well, in the first quarter, East St. Louis hardly had any rushing yardage at all. They were able to piece together one good offensive drive there in the second half, Bill. And that reflects in the statistics, but Hersey has had the majority of the good fortune here.
Well, I think the time of possession is a little bit misleading because East St. Louis leads not by very much, but certainly has a little bit more. But I think the key is those rushing yards. I mean, I'm sure that East St. Louis in their wildest dreams did not feel they would only have 50 yards in the first half.
Yes, and of course they were forced to go to the air. One thing that doesn't show there, the turnovers is a little bit of an indicator, of course, of that last interception. But the kicking game, perhaps as much as anything, has been a big factor. We've had the missed extra point. We've had the missed 2-point conversion, which was forced by the missed extra point. We had the block punt, all of which set up part of the scoring here, was very important in the scoring.
Right, and again, the field position and the attitude with which Hersey comes out right now is really going to be important. And there's the gentleman. Look at that record.
Yeah.
Outstanding. I mean, there aren't very many people in the United States that have a record like that.
Well, and he has done it I don't know if you ever read the article. There was a big story in the Chicago Sun-Times a while back by Tony Giannetti, a very talented writer. She went down and really studied the situation there, and they have overcome a tremendous amount of adversity to build a solid program. You know, that they have all sorts of challenges, and they've met him. He's done a great job, and this is a hungry, motivated, tough-as-nails football team. These guys are out there. They mean business.
Well, and of course, that's what you're going to have to see here in the second half. You're going to have to see the adjustments that the East St. Louis is willing to make at halftime, and I, for one, can't wait till the second half starts.
Yeah, me too. And we won't have to wait long because they're coming out onto the field. If we go much further, and we want to be sure before we sign off today to be sure to thank everybody with the IHSA, Jim Flynn and his staff who've helped us so much here. We'll get into some of that later, but Liz Astrout for taking time to be with us, Mr. Robinson who took time to be with us earlier, and we enjoy visiting with the people here, and we salute them on the great job they've done. And of course, what it's all about is the young men out on the field, and for them it's a showcase and a wonderful opportunity and something they really richly deserve to be
in a tremendous championship series.
Stephen Bush is kicking off, number 17, and you see two deep backs for Hersey, the deepest among them. Well, I think is Steve Johnson. He's the deep play man, and it will be kicked toward Johnson. But it'll actually be taken by Jeff Williams across the 20. Up the middle he goes. Look out to the 40. Well, that's what Hersey needed. I'll tell you what, they have come right out here. We had a flag. Was there a fumble?
Bill, they took the ball right away from him on the kickoff.
How about that? A fumble, and it was recovered by St. Louis.
We'll get a chance to see it right here. Tremendous run back. Now let's see what happened. It was really difficult to see from our vantage point. They just stole the football.
Alvin Johnson
just stole the ball.
He just went in there and stripped the ball away. First and 10, East St. Louis. Big play. And just when you thought, here's Lampkin. He stopped for a loss by big number 75. Young Ma, 5'9", 220 pounds. He's built like a fire plug.
Well, he certainly made his presence known on a number of occasions today. And the first play, he comes right back and makes a big one.
The Northwest Suburbs version of the Karate Kid. He was right there for a 3-yard loss. Second down and 13. I was going to say that Hersey's getting a great start in the second half, and East St. Louis gets the big turnover. Lampkin just pushing his blockers as he tries to head downfield, puts his head down, got about 5. Sweeping to the right side before the linebacker over there, Chris Kennedy, was there to make the stop. 12-0, Hersey.
I see a difference already early in the football game. You see the East St. Louis offensive line hitting out. They're actually out hitting Hersey's defense right now, and that was the key in the first half. They weren't doing that.
3rd down and 8 conversion. Down we have a twin set to the left. Draw play. Eugene Jones carried it. We had a flag fly, and we'll wait and see on this.
A little yellow laundry.
And we'll see if it comes back. I don't think he got the first down. It was just a quick hitter. They had set up a twin set. Well, this will be coming back.
We'll get a chance to see it. I think you're seeing the offensive line coming off the ball too quick. And you're seeing a good run, but to no avail because the flag was down.
So we'll wait and see. I was looking for the preliminary and see if it's an offside. It is an offside.
So the offensive line is so intent on getting off the ball. Obviously, they were told at halftime, get off the ball. And that's exactly what happened. He got off the ball, but it was not snapped.
3rd down and 12. Well, there is a rule about that somewhere, isn't there? 3rd down and 12, East St. Louis. Now they have flankers. They have 4 wideouts. Is this their version of the run and shoot? A quarterback draw. And Vernon Powell, that time they were ready for it. They spread everybody out and tried to run right up the gut.
And you heard the coaches on the Hersey sideline calling it out. Quarterback draw. So obviously they have scouted East St. Louis very well. And now you have another call.
Offside against East St. Louis. It'll probably be declined.
It was movement by one of the offensive linemen. Obviously, they've been told that they were back on their heels.
Procedure, offense, not enough men on the line, decline, 4th down.
With their 4 receivers, they didn't have the right number of people on the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
See, they're not accustomed to doing that. And again, they're being forced to do things they don't like to do.
And so a punting situation, and on comes Mario Malone. And his first order of business is to hang on to that football.
Is to be able to catch the football.
Yeah, right. The deep back, Jeff Williams, will stand at about his 20-yard line. Malone will punt it. That one was off the foot. Kind of an unusual punt. Williams catches it. Fair catch called for at about the 15-yard line, and I think Williams kind of wished he hadn't fair caught it.
Bill, every time Mario catches the ball, he lets the ball hit his hands and then come into his chest. And I'll tell you, if you put a little pressure on him, he's going to have a real difficult time trying to get that ball off, because he can't do too many things. Here's a good example of it. See how he catches the ball into his body every time? Now, that's a typical catch by a lineman.
So he has to pull the ball back out.
That's right.
And then get into his rhythm.
That's right. And anytime you put pressure on, he's going to have a tough time.
1st and 10 at the 16-yard line. Tobin keeps it this time across the 20. Well, Tobin not only has good quickness, but he has some strength, too. He showed it on that play as he dragged 2 tacklers.
At that time, he started the option, just pulled it out, and kept the ball.
Gain of 8. So Tobin found some room over there. He is, of course, the son of Bill Tobin, the personnel director of the Bears, the cousin of Vince Tobin. And those people need no introduction to football fans. Motion Steve Johnson across. Tobin looking. He has room to the open side. Off he goes. Can he get to the sideline? Yeah, he got over there. And he was like a smart quarterback.
Yes, and he was able to pick up a couple of blocks along the way to be able to spring him loose, at least not get negative yardage.
And let's see, he got the first down. As the football will be spotted at about the 27. They got the necessary yardage. Hersey keeps his drive alive. 9:15 remaining in the third, and we have a 12-0 Hersey lead over East St. Louis High School.
And there's the numbers on Duke Tobin.
He can scramble. We certainly have figured that out.
Well, a quarterback that scrambles just gives fits to a defensive football team.
Ellinger and Deerhog are the wideouts. Johnson goes in motion. And again, the quarterback keeping it this time. And not much there. He was met hard. An outstanding tackle coming from Vincent Moore, number 73. He had started earlier in the year, and then he lost his job.
Now, you saw the motion. Every time the motion goes, the East St. Louis defensive team shifts down. So obviously Hersey has seen something, and they want to be able to go back to the short side of the offensive formation.
2nd down and 10. Nothing ventured. Well, it was a little ventured, but nothing gained. In motion, Steve Johnson. Tobin to throw. Puts it in the air, and underthrows Steve Johnson coming up the near sideline as he took off, and Tobin got a pretty good pop.
Well, there was some good pressure from the right side of the line. And we had Vernell Cotton, who really put a hit on Duke Tobin.
He put the pressure on. Tobin had to throw it. You know, anytime you're trying to throw a pattern of relative depth, one thing you got to have is time to get the pass off.
Well, that's right. And I think that's been the key for Hersey, is that they have really, the offensive line has really done a nice job pass protecting for Duke Tobin. Tough to teach high school people.
Twin set to the right, coming across. Play action fake for Tobin. Up over the middle, and he is Deerhog. Close to a first down. I don't think he got it. At the 37-yard line, or a little short of it. He needed to make the 37. And we'll see on this one. Yes, they do rule first down. He did get it.
And East St. Louis is playing man for man, and Hersey took advantage of the fact that they are playing man for man. You'll see right here, it's a crossing pattern. Anytime you play man for man, a crossing pattern will really hurt because you pick off one of the defensive players, almost like a pick in basketball.
It'll be 1st and 10 after the first down. Hersey with a fresh set of downs to work with. Johnson, the man in motion, and he gets it on the pitch. That's that option look. He took it across to the 42, and that's the element of the option.
Right, and of course, again, when he pitches the ball, it's almost like a bullet. He doesn't really pitch the ball where he lets the ball float in the air and let the running back come under it. He pitches it right now. You'll see a good example of it again. Boom, fast pitch.
Oh, I'll say.
And boom, there's a good hit.
Good hit by Eugene Jones.
Eugene Jones, woo!
Nice job. Well, they're sticking some people today. Johnson again, the man in motion. This time they counter it. as they come back against the motion. The handoff to Danny Sabatello, cutting the other way, and he got a yard or two.
You'll see that inside wingback trap. And it was all clogged up. There was no place to go. That's one of my favorite plays, Bill. I love that play. And if you use it in the right situation, it can really be effective.
And Sabatello's the guy who can do it. He overcame some adversity this year. He had a broken wrist about a week before the season started, and it took him a while to fit in here, but he's done so very well. 3rd down and 3. Sabatello in motion. Tobin to throw. Quick pattern, deer hog, and boy, that was really smelled out. Really smelled out by Darrell Perry, number 42, a nickel back, and he was on the money.
And you'll see it. Duke Tobin's trying to force the ball in here. He didn't even look at any other receiver. And there's one person, and there's 2, 3, 4 people in the same area, all with white jerseys on.
Beautifully defended. Couldn't have been done any better than that. East St. Louis now will receive the punt. They have Kenneth Dunn and Cecil Hawkins as the 2 deep backs. Bookend is in the game, standing at his 32. Nearly blocked. Dunn was able to pick it up, and he's hammered. We will pause. East St. Louis will take over possession of the ball. 6:40 remaining 3rd quarter, and we have a 12-0 Hersey Husky lead. Those are the light towers here over Hancock Stadium in Illinois State. Bill Hazen back with Bill Gorley. You're watching the IHSA 6A championships. These are the big schools. They played a big-time football game thus far. And so about midway through the 3rd quarter.
Here's a good comparison on the passing. Hersey with 87 yards, East St. Louis with 47. And again, at this juncture of the game, you would expect Hersey to have more passing yardage.
Yeah. Jones and Lampkin in the I backfield. Strong to the short side of the field. And Jones, the front man in the I. Not much. Oh, he ran into a stone wall. Linebacker Katsajanis was there to help fill it. Komet, McDonald, Vasilevskis, the big interior guys.
And the ever-present number 73, Frank Komet.
Yep.
He is there on every play. And you know, one of the things that Hersey has to do is keep the pressure. I think this is a key series right here. If Hersey can force the punt, they could really do a lot of damage to East St. Louis.
Wing formation. Ball's blocked in the air and falls to the turf. Steve Johnson tried to get back there. Vernon Powell appeared to be looking for Johnson downfield, about in a mid-zone, about the 35-yard line.
Well, we'll see a sample of it right here. Again, they go with the play-action fake. Vernon Powell rolls out, and there's the deflection.
Nice job done there by Mark Gunther, the defensive end. Only Mid-Suburban Conference player from last year on this team. And he's back again, and he wants a state title. 3rd down. About 9 to go. Powell lets it loose. Oh, and Alvin Johnson was the target. That ball was nearly intercepted as Jimmy Kruer was right there breathing down on Alvin Johnson.
And he held back. It almost looked like he was going to let the ball be completed. Here's Vernon Powell back to throw the ball. Vernon Powell throws the ball very well.
He does.
Last minute, there's the play.
Boy, oh boy.
Got to go to the ball, and that's what Hersey's doing.
Vernon Powell has an excellent on. Here's Malone now. Let's watch and see how he catches the ball. Single safety for Hersey. Malone puts it in the air. Kind of a floater. Jeff Williams, fair catch, takes it 45-yard line. And that's where Hersey will put it in play. And East St. Louis is now fighting a field position problem as much as they are anything else to try to get back into this game. That was a 30-yard punt.
I would have thought that Hersey may have put pressure on. But then again, you see, the problem with the pressure is if you rough the kicker, you lose possession.
Yeah.
Hersey is saying, we want possession of the football. We'll take it at midfield.
There's a good look at Coach Bob Shannon talking with Vernon Powell. Wants to make sure that they get everything in order.
And he's a little concerned at this stage of the game, I'm sure.
I'm sure he is. Deep drop, swing pass, caught by Vick out of the backfield. The big fullback, look at him go! They set up that screen. Bill, they showed that earlier in the game. Do you remember?
Yes, they did. They didn't throw it very well. This time they threw it to Vick. Vick makes a nice run. Now you'll see it here. They go to the short side of the field. He looks to the wide side, then comes back to his tailback. exceptionally well thrown, but Lyman out there, and one of the linemen from Hersey wisely does not throw the block. Let's watch Vic run right here. This is another look at it. Picks up the ball and heads down the sideline.
And good speed to come back and make the tackle on the play. Going straight ahead is Tobin. As he leaped forward, showed great leg drive there on that last play. Credit Vincent Moore, the big defensive tackle, coming down the field and making a tough play.
Right, and there isn't a player on that team that can't run.
Oh, they have blistering speed. Gain of 9 on Tobin. Speaking of running, look at his numbers on the day. It sets up a second down and short, very short, about a yard.
A few more yards running, and he'll have as much as he does running, passing.
Yeah, you're right. Up they come. This is a gambling down right here if they want to go for it. Steve Johnson, the man in motion. They'll just hand it to Vic and let him pound it out, and he does so. One thing about Vic, you can see right away, he's a guy, a very steady fullback, a great guy to hand the ball off for the guaranteed 2 or 3 inside.
As I mentioned to you, Bill, I thought this was a key series of downs, and the possession of the ball going from East St. Louis to Hersey. If Hersey can score here, the panic will really set in for East St. Louis because they'll have to come back with 3.
Yeah, they'll have to move it down the field quickly. Man in motion, Steve Johnson, handoff, Vic spinning, look at him go! Has one more tackle to break, got inside the 10-yard line, 1st and goal.
East St. Louis is bunching up at the line. Vic is bouncing to the outside, and he breaks out into the open. Just a straight-ahead drive, but you see him come off, he spins. They were all bunched up at the line of scrimmage, and Vic rolls out, makes a tremendous play, and they're inside the 10-yard line looking to score a 3rd touchdown.
Alvin Johnson, 1st and goal at the 8. Vic keeps it. And no, the quarterback kept it. Tobin kept it. I'm sorry.
Too.
Oh, boy, and I'll tell you what, that was a great fake, but the East St. Louis defense did not buy it, and Tobin lost yardage and lost big. They say his forward momentum before he started to be pushed back was at the 11th.
Well, it was the option. They were going to run the option inside. He was going to pull it and then pitch it. And then, of course, you got tremendous penetration from the defensive East St. Louis Flyers, and he did not pitch the ball.
Stopped him cold. Vic is the lone setback. Sabatello goes in motion at the snap of the ball, or just before it, and Tobin tries to go up the left side, and there's nothing there. That East St. Louis defense stubborn to give ground. Michael King and a whole group. This is a good gang tackling East St. Louis team.
Right, and now a key. You've got 3rd down, 10 yards to go. Now, if you don't make it on this, you've got to go for the field goal because you're in certainly the field goal range, and you've got a young man that can kick the field goal.
Yeah, that's right. 3rd and
here,
20.
look at the domination 1st downs.
They've done a great job this half. Steve Johnson, the man in motion. Tobin to throw. He's flushed out. Throws at the last minute, and I'll tell you what, it's a good thing he got rid of it because, oh, there's a flag down. Vernell Cotton was all over Tobin, all over him. He had him, but Tobin was able to throw. With the individual strength he had, he was able to get rid of the ball while Cotton was draped on top of him.
Bill, let's see what this penalty is.
It's against St. Louis, or it's against Hersey. 3:06 remaining here in the 3rd quarter. We'll be coming back. Saw the preliminary indication.
Let's see what they... You know, I never try to outguess officials.
Well, we'll get the announcement. The officials are wired here, so we'll just wait on that.
Ineligible downfield.
Okay, there you are.
Loss down. 4.
Oh, that's a key because, and now, of course, the field goal kicker, when you get a 5-yard penalty, at least if you're inside the 10-yard line. Now, Bookout has been able to kick, and he's done very well. Yeah, but you like to get him in a little closer.
He has 7 field goals of greater than 40 yards in length. This will be a 32-yarder. Deerhog will hold. It's a straight-on shot. Bookout hits it. It has the distance. No good. No good. He was wide to the right. He missed it.
That's a key.
And East St. Louis has held.
That's a key because East St. Louis now feels they have a good deal of time left, and they have the possibility they can still score 2 and still win the football game. And when you have the kind of speed they have, and we've been talking about it since the opening of the game, they can break it wide open.
Now, Bob Shannon's team got a much-needed break there, and it came at an opportune time. Now let's see if the Flyers can capitalize on it. They're Quarterback Vernon Powell with a fresh set of downs. They go from a spread formation. Quick screen, but there was nobody there. Alvin Johnson, I think, was the target. But Johnson had not come back to the ball. Timing looked like it was a little messed up on that play.
Yes, and of course, East St. Louis discouraged from running the football. They want to throw the ball. They want to be able to make some yardage real quick.
Well, this takes them out of their game plan. They're going to have to complete some passes. But I'll tell you one thing. Vernon Powell can throw the ball. There's no doubt about that. He's got a good arm.
No question. He's got a good ability to throw the football.
Two wideouts here. Powell, straight pass drop, looking over the middle. Puts it up, and he underthrew his target, Keno Johnson, a two-way player. And he could not make the reception. 3rd and 10.
Well, again, there's a time remaining, 2:50 in the third quarter, and time now becoming a real big factor. Again, a key. If the Flyers don't make first down, you've got the kicking game again.
Yep. So it's a big play for East St. Louis. They flush him out. Pass is dropped, almost intercepted there. Great opportunity for an interception by Mike Ferraro, the defensive end, who was acting like a linebacker on that play.
Well, now do you put the pressure on, or do you bang on the door again, try to move it in offensively, Bill?
Yeah. I'll tell you what, I don't know if you can see Powell.
Powell looks like he might be injured.
Yes. Yeah, he got wrecked. Here's the word on Powell today. He throws a good ball, but you kind of wonder if they're going to have to go back to their running game to try to get it done for them. But they don't have a lot of time here. It's near the end of the third quarter. Mario Malone punts it. Fair catch call for the ball was dropped. The ball was dropped but recovered. By Keith Sluga, who dropped the ball, and Hersey has it back. Sluga won a team award this year for courage, and boy, he showed a lot of courage, sticking his head right in there to get that ball back. And of course, he better get it, or he'd need more courage to go back to the sidelines.
That's right. That's absolutely right. He'd have a new courage award.
2:36 remaining in the third. And once again, the East St. Louis defense is going to have to do it, while the Hersey offense, of course, just wants to sustain control of the ball.
And run the clock down.
Yeah. Keep the clock moving.
They'd like another score here. They do need some kind of score if they want to really put the pressure on East St. Louis.
Single back set with Steve Johnson, the motion man. Looking for a screen. No, Tobin. He broke free. But, boy, he won't break free of that tackle by co-captain Michael King. Guy who didn't play football as a junior.
Oh, you'll see Michael King come in on Tobin. Tobin going back to throw the ball, doing what he does best. There's a whole host of East St. Louis. I'm not even going to begin to start picking out people there, but Mike King, the first person to make the hit on Duke Tobin.
Michael didn't start playing high school football until he did get into high school. He didn't play in junior high. Minute 40. 2nd down and 20. Would appear to be a passing situation. And what do? They go to the draw play. And the handoff to Vick, and he gets to midfield. Got some of the yardage back. It'll set up a 3rd and 14.
You know, the formations that Hersey runs out of, and of course the fact that they like to throw the ball, the draw play has to be one of the biggest plays in their offense.
Oh yeah, because they put so much pressure on you to defend the pass. They spread you so far out.
And then of course you put the responsibility on a middle linebacker to play the running back man for man.
Well, East St. Louis surrendered 6, but it's 3rd down and 14. And a big play will be needed by the Huskies here. Tobin up over the middle. Deerhog, he's close to the first down. Look at him fight. He got it. He got it on individual effort. Deerhog was wrestled to the ground. Gerald Perry was there fighting as hard as he could, but Deerhog stretched it for the first down.
Well, you'll see a good example here of a receiver knowing exactly where he has to go to get the first down. He fights for it. He's not just content to make the catch. He has to get the first down, and he knows where it is. And that's a sign of a good receiver. Look at the numbers. 4 receptions, 59 yards.
Deerhog, a co-captain, an unheralded player, but one of the hardest workers in high school football in the state of Illinois. Steve Johnson fighting. Gets 6.
A nice little move there to avoid a tackle. Steps up in the crease, makes an extra 2 or 3 yards.
Vernell Cotton made the hit after a 6-yard gain. 25 seconds remaining in the third, with East St. Louis trailing the Hersey Huskies 12-0. Hersey, and I know somewhere in this crowd is an old schoolmate of mine, Mike Polito, who is a teacher at Hersey High School today, and somewhere in this vast sea of people, I know he's cheering for his team. He attended Arlington High School, and of course I guess Hersey kind of replaced Arlington up there when they closed it. And the clock ticks off, and that ends the third quarter of play.
Arlington went to Forest View, and then Forest View closed, and then some of those people went to either Rolling Meadows or Hersey. All
right, fourth quarter action coming up, and Hersey wants to hang on to a 12-0 lead. We'll see if they can do it coming up. "12 minutes of football remaining in the Illinois high school season. And we're going to see what happens here at Hancock Stadium, which is located here technically in Normal, Illinois, and nearby Bloomington, of course. It's a Twin City community where Illinois State resides. And here we go. Hersey. Steve Johnson in motion. Handoff up the middle to Vic, the big fullback, and he pounds it. That's the first part of the option. As Vic blasted forward for a couple on what was a 3rd down and 4. He did not get the first down.
Well, the key now is going to be for Hersey to hang on to the football, not do anything real fancy, try and get some first downs, try and get some points on the board, whether it be via the touchdown route or field goal.
It was 2nd down and 4. It's now 3rd down and 2. The pitch coming around to Sabatello. Look at him spin. He got the first down. He got the first down to the 25-yard line. 1st and 10 on what was a 3rd down and 2.
Sabatello really got the first down on the spin. If he had not used that little maneuver, they would not have had the first down.
So Dan Sabatello, a 6-foot senior, 175 pounds. There's a good look at him. He had to spin that extra effort. 1st and 10 for Tobin. Play action fake, but did he get it off? No, no chance. Before that play could even form, breaking right through there for East St. Louis was Kenny Robinson. He was all over him.
But you'll see Kenny Robinson right here. Duke Tobin, just a 3-step drop, and Kenny Robinson hanging on, obviously in a blitz situation.
And so he was able to get through there. It wasn't picked up. Oops, what happened there? The shoulder pads.
Shoulder pad strap, yeah, right, probably came undone.
So 10:53 on the clock. And take a look. We'll show you the story on time of possession here, Bill, which is rather interesting. Hersey has really done a great job holding on to the ball.
And that's the key. That's the key. You have to keep the ball away from East St. Louis. You have to gang up on them when they do have the ball and force them to throw the ball. As we've seen, they've thrown the ball 16 times, only had 4 completions, and it's something that is foreign to their offensive theory.
You know, I was just going to say that. It's interesting how well they have controlled the ball, because the knock on this type of offense is that it's not a ball control offense, but they've shown that they can execute it as well.
Well, they don't throw balls deep all the time, Bill. They're always looking for the short possession type of passes, and of course, they're not going to throw the ball over the field 20, 25 yards deep. And they do other things. They do run the ball, and they run the option.
2nd down, we'll call it 19. Tobin is flushed out again under heavy pressure. Just threw the ball to get rid of it. Kind of looked as if they were, well, I can't say they were trying to set up a screen because he was flushed out too fast. I think Deerhog was the target, but Tobin was not going to connect on that one.
Well, they like to throw those little curl routes and those little outcuts, and particularly they've had some success on the outcuts because of the kind of cushion that the defensive backs for East St. Louis have been allowing Hersey to have.
There's a good look at Bob Shannon, some of his teammates there on the Flyer sideline. They've done a great job this year to get to this championship game. Deerhog to the far side. Ellinger to the near side. Not sure if Ellinger has caught a pass. He may have caught one pass. Single back set. Johnson fakes motion. Tobin, 3rd down. Up he goes on the near side for Ellinger. Incomplete. And pass interference. Pass interference. Ellinger was trying to come back to the ball.
And it's against East St. Louis.
Boy, that's a tough call. That is a very tough call.
Well, we'll be able to see it right here, Bill. Here's Johnson going down. He comes back for the ball very well. And East St. Louis again loses track of the ball, playing the man, and he interferes with him.
How about that? Dwayne Rose was there on pass coverage against Johnson. And Well, you see Johnson's got that great deep speed. He can do a lot of things.
Well, that's a key play right here.
Yeah, it really is. That takes a lot of air out of it. Now what do we have?
Defensive pass interference. Or stop.
They ruled the interference came at the 19-yard line before the ball was in the air, Bill.
Look at the total yardage this half. East St. Louis 4, Hersey 116.
Yeah.
Now 50 yards, that means they have a total of 54 yards for East St. Louis.
That's
unbelievable.
That is really unbelievable.
Head back pass.
Let's see what he goes to.
Throw back to
He's
the
going down toward the quarterback. Tobin is open. He takes it in. Touchdown! You smelled it, Bill.
You can see it. It's just a throwback to the quarterback. That's a great play, particularly when you get the kind of flow that East St. Louis has produced all football game, because anytime motion has gone to the wide side of the field, East St. Louis has shifted down. Well, that's a great call.
And a gutty call in a state championship game. Danny Sabatello. And I'll tell you what, he threw that ball pretty well.
Yes, he did. And any time you make a call like that and you score the touchdown, you always look good.
Oh, yeah. Try for the extra point. Deerhog will hold. And Bookout will kick. Looks pretty good. It's in there. He just snuck it in the far post.
Here's the touchdown. There's the motion to the wide side of the field. Tobin pitches the ball. Waits till Tobin gets out. He waits just long enough, and there was no pressure by East St. Louis. And Tobin, of course, is wide open and waltzes in.
Oh, man. Just snuck inside.
That's a big play.
That is a really big play. And now East St. Louis is back right up against the precipice.
Well, now you've got 10 minutes, and you see another angle here. You'll see the pitch, and you see the flow. Look at the flow of East St. Louis.
Yeah.
Now they didn't know what to do. They were in limbo. Then they came back.
And you can see Tobin is open. East St. Louis had been blitzing, Bill, and of course when you do blitz and send people, you are vulnerable to counters and over pursuit.
And you know, the interesting thing is East St. Louis is coming into this football game, and they don't do a lot of blitzing. They play a pretty vanilla defense.
Yeah.
Felt they had to do that in order to take advantage of what Hersey was giving them and to be able to upset their offensive plans.
The Flyers need a big run back here if they can get it. And they're going to hope that Cecil Hawkins can give it to them. Bookout will kick it off at the 40.
I think I'd want to squib it right here.
Well, we'll see what he decides to do. And indeed, they put it on the ground. It does go through. It hits somebody, goes over the sideline, and East St. Louis is going to put it in play at their own 6-yard line. And brother, the wheels are really coming off of the Flyers.
What a break. Coach Shannon really upset. But that's what you had to do. You had to kick the ball on the ground to get that skid and hope that just what happened there would happen.
It hit a lineman. It hit one of the intermediate receivers. It took a wild bounce.
Now here's the scoring drive. 9 plays, 54 yards. And the key again, time of possession, 4 minutes and 7 seconds. And then the 19-yard pass to Tobin for the touchdown.
Powell leads them up. A lot of work to be done now. 19 points down. Powell, the draw play, and they give it to Lampkin, and Lampkin was stopped after a gain of a couple. They have to get something going with their bread and butter guys, Bill.
Well, that's right. They've got to run the football right now, and of course, with 10 minutes, you almost are forced to throw the ball a little bit.
Yeah, and of course, they haven't had success throwing the ball.
That's right, in bad field position, and right now, Hersey really wants to put the pressure on. They would like to force the Flyers to punt. 2 reasons, and again, and not to be redundant, but their kicking game really has had some problems today.
No doubt about it. It has hurt. East St. Louis has paid for it tremendously. 2nd down and 9. Vernon Powell keeps it. Look at him turn the ball upfield. That's a big play that the Flyers needed. He got it across the 20 to the 21-yard line before Steve Katsajanis stopped in.
We'll see the kind of speed that Vernon Powell has. And it's not going to be a pitch. It's going to be nothing more than a quarterback sweep. And Vernon Powell gets the ball out, at least gives the East St. Louis Flyers a little bit more room to breathe. Now we've got a player down for Hersey.
Chris Kennedy, big linebacker, a senior. This is his last game.
We saw one game where a linebacker got hurt, and it hurt the chances.
Yes.
The Roxana Shells really hurt their chances to win the football game last evening.
That was Steve Counton, who went down, number 51, and they were counting on him. And after that, their defense was never the same. Kennedy is up. He's coming off the field under his own power. Kennedy, guy didn't play last year, and he really blossomed tremendously between his junior and senior years. And in the Naperville North game, for the Hersey fans, they certainly know he was the big sticker in that Naperville North victory before they came here.
Well, in that last graphic, 9 minutes and 33 seconds. That's the big item for Hersey right now.
Powell fumbled the ball. He recovered it. And he's going to make positive yardage out of it.
Bill, I'm amazed at Hersey's defense. They have not let up since the beginning of the football game. They've always had 3 or 4 people on the ball, never letting up.
You know, the funny thing is, as you say, East St. Louis has the tradition. They've been here before. When I talked with Coach Glover earlier in the week, first thing he said to me was, hey, we're going to make this adjustment and do this. We want to play this way because we've got a chance to win.
That's
he
right.
came in believing he could win this game.
That's right. There was an article in the Daily Herald where he said, we're not in awe.
Yeah. We think we can win it, and they're playing like they can win it. That time the handoff, no yardage at all for Eddie Robinson trying to come around. Very little. He was stopped cold.
You know, you'll get a chance to see it right here, Bill. And that's just that wing-back lead. And Hersey will have no part of it. You know, Bill, they've had 5 years of success, playoff success, in the Mid-Suburban League. Last year, of course, in this championship game, Buffalo Grove defeated Marist. And you and I saw that one and
yes.
did it.
Yeah, indeed. There's Cotton. He's just going to keep the ball under his arm. Look at him go. He's just outrunning people down the sideline. Oh, my goodness. A touchdown-saving tackle by Mark Sunderland on Vernon Powell. Powell just took that ball, went around the right side, and it was like he was shot out of a cannon.
Well, they're keying on all the backs except for Vernon Powell. Now, you'll just see. And there's nothing more than just a quarterback sweep. That's all he wants to run. He's not going to throw the ball. He's not going to pitch the ball. He's going to take it on his own.
Oh, yeah, look at him break that tackle. Dave Platt couldn't stop him.
Well, Mark Sunderland showed good speed there, coming up and tripping him up.
7:50 remaining. If East St. Louis gets a quick one here, they may still have a chance. But they have to score quickly. Powell back to throw. He's looking. He's going for it. Right off of the shoulder pad and nearly intercepted. Off of the shoulder pad of Keno Johnson. Steve Katsajanis was there and nearly at the interception. There's Steve.
All right, there's Vernon Powell back to throw the ball. And there's a tip.
Oh.
And he should have caught the ball.
Right in his hands.
Bill, one thing I've learned as I've been watching more and more football games, teams that don't throw the football have a difficult time catching it.
Yeah. Well, it's for obvious reasons. They don't have the game experience, the pressure.
Exactly right. Well, that was real astute, wasn't it?
2nd down and 10. But boy, we've seen it here, haven't we? Powell puts it up, a wobbly pass. And again, his target was Keno Johnson. Went right back to him. Keno is probably best known for his blocking ability on this team. And he's had times, had a little note written on Keno right here, has had trouble hanging on to the football at times. And you saw it right there with the ball that hit his shoulder pad. Now, that pass was not well thrown. Keno couldn't do anything with that one.
No, you have to practice. You have to work at it. And obviously, in practice, they haven't had any reason to do such, and they've just been able to run the football. But any team that does not throw it a lot has to work at it. And if they don't, they have a difficult time.
7:34 remaining. And East St. Louis needs a big play right here. Not much of a play-action fake. He's just taking the ball. Look at Powell go. Oh, and he got it by leaping. He was submarined by Mark Sunderland, and he got the first down anyway.
He knew where it was. He just went airborne.
Well, I'll tell you what, this is a very gutty young man.
Vernon Powell is going to say, hey, if my buddy Lampkin can't do it, I'm going to do it. And he just turns it on outside. Once he gets past the corner, now it's just a matter of trying to get that first down, and he tried to hurdle.
A naked bootleg. The flow of the play was to one side. He went to the other. And that's the story on Powell.
Had almost 100 yards rushing on 8 attempts.
1st and goal at the 9. East St. Louis desperately needs a score. Powell, he throws it to his fullback, Eugene Jones, who carried it down to about the 6-yard line before Mike Ferraro stopped him. Little shovel thing to pass there.
Well, he just got rid of it. He was stumped right here because Kmet was right there, and he just dumped it off. He took whatever he could just so he didn't have negative yardage.
Well, they got some positive yardage on it. Clock runs at 6:40. Time is the biggest enemy that East St. Louis has right now. Up to the line. Wing formation. Double tight end set. He had trouble holding the ball. Powell just took off forward, got to the 5-yard line. It seems that when East St. Louis starts to get something going, then there's a little miss-snap, a little things that they don't normally do, and they're just having trouble sustaining anything.
You know, I have to believe that the way Hersey has played defensively has really interrupted their ability to move the ball just because they didn't think Hersey was that good a football team.
Yeah. Well, Hersey has certainly proven to be that, and Komet has certainly proven what a player he is. Big play right here. 3rd and goal at the 5. And a timeout is going to be taken.
Equipment timeout.
Officials, yes. We had Eugene Jones is over there talking with the back judge and trying to get his gear straightened around.
Well, he had a 4-point chin strap, and the top chin strap was unhooked. And with the way they're playing defense, I think I'd want my chin strap buttoned up, too.
I'll guarantee you that's right. Handoff goes to Lampkin, picking his hole. Oh, look at him fight. He nearly got it in.
What leg drive?
What leg drive. It's hard to believe a player could drive that hard with 4 players against him. Komet, safety in there.
We'll get a chance to look at it right now, Bill. Look, watch the leg drive. Just like a bowling ball. He's in there. Look at that leg drive. He's taken 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Hersey players.
Catch a Janis. Book out. Here we go. 1st and goal at the 1. This is the ball game right here. 4th and goal. The quarterback got it. Touchdown. Sneaking it over was Vernon Powell. And East St. Louis keeps its thin hopes alive, but they had to have a touchdown on that play. 5:13 remaining. Now what do you do? 2-point conversion time? That would put them within 11.
No, Bill, well, I'm not coaching down there. I'd go for 1 and just start playing it, because if you go here, you go for 2, and you don't make it, you've got to have 3 touchdowns to win the football game.
They're going for 2.
Yep.
5:13 remaining. Bush, he fumbled the ball. He got it back. Whoa, where's the football? And boom, he paid the price for not knowing where the football was. Mark Gunther really pounded it. 5:13 remaining in regulation. We'll be coming back for the final minutes of this football game. 19-6, Hersey.
Here's a replay on the touchdown. Quarterback sneak by Powell, and of course he deserved to get that one. He worked so hard to get his team out of the shadows of the goalpost and brought it all the way down for the score.
Hersey has come out with their hands team.
Their good hands team.
Yes, sir. There is not a single lineman on the field.
They have one, Mark Gunther.
All right.
Mark Gunther is the only person out there on that field right now. They're looking for the onside kick.
Yeah, that's, of course, I was just going to get to that. The reason, of course, that they would do this is because they anticipate an onside kick. And Stephen Bush is setting up at the 40 for East St. Louis. Really, the Flyers need the ball back almost immediately if they can get it. Let's see what Bush decides to do. East St. Louis has several timeouts left if they need them. I think all 3. There's the squib. And it's caught just across the 50 at the 48. It was over toward the side where Sabatello was, and it was taken by Kerry Cow, a cornerback. Kerry Cow. Here's the story on the drive now, and boy, what a tremendous drive for East St. Louis. That's a real gut check right there.
But look at the time it took for them to score.
Well, and the field position too.
Right.
There's the kicking game once again. The ball hit a lineman, went out of bounds. They had to go 94 yards. The kicking game has been all one way, all in favor of Hersey. Now you would think the temptation would be to keep it on the ground, or very short passes that keep it in bounds. And here's Vick straight ahead. But even if they don't get a first down here, Bill, they'll probably use up 2 minutes.
Well, that's probably true, but you'd like to at least get at least 1 first down and maybe 2, and you certainly don't want to be pitching the ball on the option. You don't want to be throwing the ball. You don't want to go for that easy touchdown, that easy possession that East St. Louis could get and get back in the football game with 4:27 left to go.
The story of this game is in that lower right-hand corner right now. That's what East St. Louis is looking at, and Hersey is that far away from a state championship. Be a great moment if indeed they get it. Handoff straight ahead. Vick, look at him go! He broke free! He may go all the way. He stopped at the 5-yard line. What a play, Bill. That's the backbreaker. That is the backbreaker right there. Greg Vick broke a tackle, and then it was Alvin Johnson who finally stopped it.
Let's take a look at it, Bill. It's just an inside drive, and he just spins out. Nobody ramped up on him, and he just went right down the field. Outstanding.
Boy, that was a long, long run for the big fullback.
And that's what Hersey needed to be able to get themselves that first down. And now, of course, you're going into this series of downs hoping for a first down. Now you're looking for the touchdown.
Well, that's the backbreaker right there. Even if they don't score, 35-yard run there, and you're talking, Coach Bob Shannon knows his team, even if they get it back, they've got to go 95 yards.
Right, and that picture of Coach Shannon, I think, depicts exactly the way Hersey feels the opposite.
Vick straight ahead, touchdown! Vick takes it into the end zone. And the celebration is about ready to start with 3:43 remaining. His first touchdown of the day, straight up the middle. Young man was academically ineligible last year, but he worked hard on his grades. And as a senior, he has to be really enjoying this. A human dynamo. We saw it on that big run up the middle. He kept those legs churning like all good runners do.
Well, that's right. And the thing was how he came out of the previous play where he just broke out and really made the difference. And, of course, we saw the frustration on Coach Shannon's face, and you're seeing it now across the field with the whole football team for East St. Louis.
Bookend will try for the extra point. Right through there, dead center. Can't kick it any straighter than that. And now, with the Hersey Huskies in the driver's seat on a 26-6 ball game, any hope that East St. Louis had was that they had to get that ball back almost instantly.
And Bill, this is the third straight year that a mid-suburban league has gone down to the championship. We mentioned Buffalo Grove last year, winning it against Marist, 26-6. And then the year before that, Forest View, which was the last year of their school, played in a 5A championship. Now, they did not win it, but they were here. So that's 3 straight years championship games for the Mid-Suburban League. I think it speaks well for the league.
It really does. It speaks very well. Very competitive coaches in that league in the northwest suburbs of Chicago.
And there's a touchdown. That's the same play. They just ran a drive play up the middle. And, of course, you'll see a different angle right here. Straight ahead drive. Nothing fancy. The last time he did that, the play before, he, of course, spun out. And that's why they were put in the touchdown situation.
They went right over center Clay Chapman, and head coach Bruce Glover says that Clay is the best center they've had at Hersey in over a decade. Bookend kicks it. Taken by an up man. Across the 30. This is Jones, the fullback, the normal fullback. Over the 40. Look at him go. Can he get to the sideline? No, he couldn't get there. It'll be 1st and 10 at the 47 or 48-yard line, and that's where East St. Louis will put it in play. 3:33 remaining.
Now the ball hits his chest, goes up in the air, and it looked like they had the wall set up to the left, and he's going to the right. And he makes some good yardage.
Yeah. Good block on Deerhog there, but Deerhog finally made the tackle.
Right, he played the outside. He's the outside safety. He had to take him to the sideline.
And he did it. 3:20 remaining now, and the clock running. Vernon Powell, you would think he almost has to throw here. No, they give it to Lampkin, the big man up the middle, and look at him fight forward for a good 4 or 5 yard gain. And Lampkin, there's Komet right there too, as those two great players meet head to head. And here's the story on the big scoring drive, Bill.
Well, just 3 plays and a big one by Vick. He breaks it out in the open when you're looking for a first down, not for anything else.
All the yards of the drive were by Vick.
That's right.
He carried the ball every play.
That's right.
Including that big 35-yarder that broke the back of the Flyers here today. 2:45 left. You can hear the fans celebrating on the sidelines. Powell being flushed out. He'll never get back to the line. Flag. Flag flies. May have been a late hit in there. Tom Daly, a senior, and he's the third-string linebacker's brother, played on a playoff team. We'll see what the story is on this. Daly made the hit. And let's see now. This one, East St. Louis is marching back. Well, I'll tell you one thing about the Flyers. They have absolutely nothing to be ashamed of. It's a long trip back home to East St. Louis, but they came here ready to play. They played hard. Their kicking game let them down a little bit today. They had a few things happen. Hersey played an exceptional defensive game. But I'll tell you what, East St. Louis has had a great year. There's no school in the state that has had the success that East St. Louis has had in the past decade.
I don't know if there's many schools in the country that have had the success that East St. Louis has had.
Yeah, they've been incredible. You saw the clipping call there. So East St. Louis hurt a little bit on that. And now you've got a 2nd down and 26. The band plays on. And it's the Hersey band that's doing all the playing. Screen pass for Alvin Johnson. Gets away from one tackler. But that Hersey defense, ever present, omnipresent, they're everywhere. Mike Ferraro, a junior.
You know, I can't remember when I've seen a football team script the way you had to play a game and then play it.
Yeah.
And if you had to do that, what Hersey did today is exactly the way they said, now guys, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And I think they met all their goals today.
Coaching and execution. And that's what they got. You see the time remaining. And Hersey, that far away from a big celebration. Looking, Powell puts it up way downfield. He had a receiver open, but Kenneth Turner slipped a little bit on the turf and could not find his way to the sideline. There's a look at Kenneth.
Well, obviously right now, Hersey is saying, give him the pass, just don't give him the touchdown.
Yeah. And a sideline route. Of course, sideline routes are very smart to run at this time of the game. You're not going to be able to get deep on these guys. And so we will have a 4th down and 28. Are they going to go for it? Looks like they are. And a timeout is going to be called by Hersey here, as I think they had sent their punt defense unit out onto the field anticipating the punt. Sure enough, it didn't happen. So
there goes Coach Shannon. You'll see him walking across there a little dejected. Obviously coming in here anticipating adding to his state crowns.
Well, you know, as Coach Shannon well knows as well as anybody, every team finishes on a losing note except for the one team that wins it all. So he has nothing to be ashamed of. And he has worked as hard as anybody, and he had his game face on today. He really did.
Well, he's won some other ones, and I'm sure he's going to be back.
He will be back. And we're going to be back because Sports Vision tips off its outstanding college basketball season Tuesday night. We're back with basketball. An exciting doubleheader for you. The NIU Huskies visit Wisconsin at 7:30. Then the DePaul Blue Demons play host to Niagara at 9:30. It's all right here on Sports Vision. Chicago's winners on cable. Live, we'll have it for you. 1:41 left. Powell, they're going for it on 4th down. Up the middle he goes. He has Alvin Johnson at midfield. And he did not get all of the necessary yardage. That's about a 20-yard gain, but he needed 28. Katsajanis hit him. Hersey takes it over with 1:34 remaining, and now they're in a position to simply, if they want, just go to a victory formation here, Bill.
Well, that's what you would do. You certainly, you've got 1:34. You get 1 first down, and it's over.
Yeah. We may have a new quarterback, Danny Ginn, is coming out onto the field. He runs the option. They call him Mr. Option. He runs it very well. You see in the East St. Louis sideline, they're a little dejected. There's Tobin. He's done for the day. And he gets a good pat on the back from head coach Bruce Glover. This has to be a great moment, and I know for the Tobin family, it has to be a great moment. Up the middle.
Quarterback sneak.
Oh, yeah. Ginn just took off with it. And he got some good yardage. He got about 7 yards with it. 1:02 and counting. That man is going to be taking home some hardware. And he'll take home hardware, too, will Bob Shannon, but it'll be a second-place trophy. So there's certainly nothing to be ashamed of here. These guys, and as for these guys, the whole town of Arlington Heights, I think there's some celebrating out by the railroad tracks at Highway 14.
Well, and I think the amazing thing is that this is a football team that was 1-8 last year.
Oh, yeah. 33 seconds left. Tight formation. There's the victory formation right there, and they'll just go ahead and sneak it out. There's no reason to rub any salt in the wounds at this stage. And so, down to 20 seconds remaining. Hersey, a couple of players have their fingers up in the air. 12 seconds. They won't run another play.
Nope, that's all she wrote.
Yeah, it's all going to be history. The clock will run off. Another play will not be run. And Hersey, 2-1. A state championship goes to Hersey High School, and the celebration begins. A great moment for the people in Arlington Heights.
And for the second straight year, the mid-suburban team wins the state crown.
Yeah. And for that young man, you saw the quarterback of East St. Louis, and there's some of the players. They'll all shake hands. Vernon Powell had a great game. He tried everything he could, certainly in a losing cause. There are the coaches. Bob Shannon going over. And he knows it's an exciting time. Bruce Glover, that's his first title. Bruce is a graduate of Northern Illinois, class of '64. He played, you know, the funny thing is, he played very little at Northern. He only went out for spring football 1 year at Northern under a legendary coach by the name of Howard Fletcher.
And Howard Fletcher would really enjoy the kind of football, because that's the kind of football that Howard Fletcher used to play, where they had people all over and throw the ball.
Oh, yeah. They came out throwing at you. And Bruce Glover had played his prep ball. He comes from the center of the state. He played at Chillicothe near Peoria. He's a former assistant at Dunlap and at Aurora. He was an assistant at my alma mater under Al Allen at Arlington. And he was the offensive coordinator for Joe Gleba at Hersey.
Right,
and then took over the job.
After Joe went to Prospect.
Well, I'll tell you, it's a great moment certainly for Hersey High School, and they're going to be celebrating in the northwest suburbs of Chicago, but there should certainly be no shame for the East St. Louis people. They've done a great job and fall in defeat. Our final score, 26-6. Hersey has won a state crown, and we will be coming back to review in just a moment. Well, we are back here, and the celebration is on. And on the victory stand, the state champions. There's Chris Deerhog right there and some of the other teammates. Bill Hazen back with Bill Gorley. We're going to go down to the stand and just kind of watch here. That's Gunther there, who had some big tackles in the game. Bill played very well. There's the head coach himself. I know you know him pretty well, don't you?
And Bruce, really well-deserved. He worked real hard. And, of course, he brings the pride back to the Mid-Suburban League, because last year Buffalo Grove won it, this year Hersey won it.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, I would imagine Grant Blaney, the head coach of Buffalo Grove, is sitting and watching this right now. He's probably very happy also.
Well, before Bruce left, he just wished him well and said, go back and get it and bring it back for the Mid-Suburban League.
Let's go down. I don't know if you can hear in the background what's happening on the stand here, but all the fans are cheering. And there it is, the big piece of hardware that back when you tee it up in August and start to get it going, that's what you're trying to get.
Well, it takes a long time, because people forget this game is played in a lot of different weather. Early in the year, you have all that heat. Now you have all the cold. And it's been a long time for these young guys, because they've put in a lot of time trying to play football and win a championship.
They've worked very, very hard, and Hersey comes out of there with a 26-6 win. There's certainly no embarrassment or shame for East St. Louis. They may not have been able to accomplish everything they wanted to do today, but they showed their abilities, and they made some good things happen out there. As I say, some of their special teams play certainly let them down today, and they got off to a bad start, and they just weren't able to recover after that, Bill.
Well, they've been here before, and they'll come again, so I'm sure that the disappointment will leave shortly.
I guarantee you that. They have a whole bunch of that very same hardware in the trophy case at East St. Louis. So these guys know how to win, and they have been there before. So all in all, it's been a very interesting game to watch. And I thought East St. Louis, I'll tell you what, Vernon Powell really showed me some guts. He's one of the guttiest players I've seen in high school football.
Well, they took everything away. When they took Lampkin away, there wasn't anybody else to run. So
yeah.
Vernon just decided that he was going to have to do it all by himself, and he did it late in the game, but it was just not enough time.
We understand that Bruce Glover is down on the sidelines now. We've outfitted him with a headset, so we'll go down and visit with Bruce. Congratulations, Coach. Bill Hazen and Bill Gorley up here. I know this has to be a wonderful, wonderful moment. Share your feelings with us, if you will.
Well, it's indescribable. I mean, when you go to the top of Illinois football and you beat the team that everybody says is Illinois football, you just feel on top of the world right now. Well, my little guy's standing down here trying to hog a little bit of this. I'm going to squeeze him in here with me. He's pretty
is that your son?
Guy. That's my son right now. He's a pretty happy guy right now.
Oh, yes, and he looks it. He looks it.
Bruce, in your wildest dreams, did you ever feel that you could hold an East St. Louis team to 151 rushing yards.
You know, we've played pretty good defense all year, and even since about the 5th ball game of the year when we got Mark Gunther back from Mono, we've played good defense and we've played good football teams all year. Now, I'm amazed that we were able to hold Lampkin down because he looked like the human bowling ball to me when we started, you know, breaking down films on them. But our kids played a great gutty performance, and I think putting a couple of touchdowns up put them in a position where they could kind of go after him.
Bruce, you almost scripted the play the way you had to play this football game. You said you had to play good defense, and I'm sure this is what you told the team. You sustained the ball offensively. You took advantage of the breaks. You couldn't have written the script any better.
Well, we thought we could, we could move the ball on them, but I was really kind of thinking about a 21-20 or a 24-21 ball game. And our guys, everybody that came back, our 3 scouts that went down said, guys, you can score on them, but we're going to have trouble holding them down. But, you know, Bob Shannon's had football teams here before, and I think he's got enough material there to come back again. I don't think, I think everybody up there saw that.
You know, you really paid the price for success, Bruce, because last year, you know, here you are at the pinnacle of success, but a year ago you were down and out. You guys finished the season ending, and I think that's really about as amazing of a success story as any I've seen in high school football.
Well, there wasn't any question, Bill. It was a trip from the outhouse to the penthouse, and we're going to enjoy it for 365 days.
Exactly. You paid the price by playing like a guy like Tobin when he was a sophomore, but I guess that price was worth it, wasn't it?
Well, you know, I think that everybody looks at him and there's that intangible there. He's a winner. I mean, 3 straight weekends now. Anybody who's followed our ball club, you knew that if it was a tough situation to be in, that Duke was going to get us out of it offensively.
Bruce, let me give you my congratulations, and for the Mid-Suburban League, 2 years in a row, you guys are doing something right.
Well, listen, I think your competition is the one that's making you get down here. Buffalo Grove, you know, knocked down the door last year, and everybody took a look at it and said, hey, we can do that. And I think, you know, people will take a look at us and say, hey, listen, those guys couldn't even win their league, but they're state champs. We're going to try it, too.
Bruce, all the best to you. Continued success.
All right, thank you very much.
Again, Bruce.
All right.
All right, very good. That's Bruce Glover. Northern Illinois University grad, class of '64. It's a great moment for him in a 26-6 Hersey victory. And Bill and I will be coming back here to Normal, Illinois in just a moment. There are very few words that you need to add to a beautiful picture like that. Those are obviously the very jubilant Hersey High School fans. And they're going to be going back home and having an awful lot of fun tonight. Yes, they're number 1. And have every reason to celebrate. They have a state championship under their belt, and it's been fun to watch them play today. It's been fun to watch East St. Louis play today. Bill, this is a fine football game.
Well, I enjoyed the football game. I saw some things that I didn't expect, and on both sides of the ball. So it was an interesting game, really.
Yeah, well, I think it's a good capper to a season. You know, the high school season is now over here in Illinois. We've seen some talented teams get there, Bill, and I suppose it's time, that time of the year, we should take our hats off to these guys. And all the individual effort, it's particularly important for the players and what they've accomplished.
Well, and of course, you saw a team in Hersey play better defense, I think, than most people expected. You saw them shut down East St. Louis, and not very many people have done that when they limited them to 151 yards. That surprised me.
You know, we had over 40 college scouts here today to watch what's going on here. Why? Because they're looking for talent, and you won't find any better talent than right here in the state of Illinois, and I think that really says a lot about what happened out on this field today.
Right, and it wasn't just for the larger schools. They were here for the smaller schools as well, because I experienced the 1A, 2A games, which I had never seen before, and I saw some better ability there than I really thought schools had.
Yes, indeed. Here in the 6A, with Hersey winning it, I can't help but get back to the special teams play, which was as much a factor as anything in terms of the problems that East St. Louis had.
Right, and East St. Louis will probably have those problems for a long time to come because they don't have to punt the football. They are able to move the ball on most people, and it's an experience that they don't have, and they were faced with it here, and they weren't able to do it very well.
Isn't that something? When you're so good that you hardly ever have to give up the ball in special teams play, and it makes it pretty rough.
That's right, and of course they have a lineman trying to catch the ball, and he probably is the best guy as far as kicking the ball.
Yeah.
Maybe you ought to have somebody catching it for him.
Well, Bill, for me, I would like to take a moment and for Mike Lederman and Jack McInerney. You've seen them on the 1A, 3A, and 5A games. We've done the 2, 4, and 6. This is our second year here, and I want to salute you. We had a lot of fun, and I sure enjoyed your input on the game.
Well, I appreciate it, Bill. It's been a fun time, and the Illinois High School Association should be congratulated for having these series on Sports Vision.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Of course, this is the first year when we've brought all 6 classes to you, and it's been our pleasure to do it, and we've been rewarded with a lot of great football. We hope you've enjoyed having a chance to watch it here. All capped off by this game today with Hersey, the Huskies, coming home with a state title as they defeat East St. Louis. And all in all, some very good football to watch. And I don't know about you, but it gets a little warmer. I wouldn't mind if they just go back, cycle it right back to August, and we'll get it going again.
I'm pretty warm right now. I know you got that coat on just because you went out and bought it and you wanted everybody to see it. That's all.
I got a great price on it, though, Bill.
Well, I'm sure you did.
All right.
Again, I enjoyed it, Bill.
Thank you, Bill. I enjoyed it very much. Hope you did, too. And we would like to thank some of the people who have been directly involved with it, from the Illinois High School Association, people like Executive Secretary Liz Astroth, the Associate Executive Secretary David Fry. A special thanks to Assistant Executive Secretary Jim Flynn, who was a tremendous help. He sent us a lot of material, and as well as Ola Bundy, Charlene Bremberg, and Donald Robinson, who were all involved. And, of course, the people here at Illinois State, to Tom LaMonica and his crew, to the athletic director here, Ron Wellman. The people have been very nice to us from Illinois State, and of course they host this tournament every year. We appreciate it. Our next IHSA championship event will be tomorrow at noon, when the state's best compete in the state swimming and diving finals. That's success right there. Executive producer for tonight's game, Jim Corno. Today's games have been produced and directed by Bob Albrecht and Mark Goldsmith. Our associate producer, Greg Bowman. Studio coordinator, Aldo Perry. And remote facilities provided by Trio Video of Chicago. Stay tuned. We have a full lineup for you coming up on Sports Vision. The Sports Writers on TV, followed by the Tom Landry Show, and This Week in Hockey. Then at 7, Doug Collins and Jim Durham host the Bulls Beat, followed at 7:30 by live action, the Bulls taking on the Houston Rockets from the Summit in Houston. Well, the 6A finals are history, and for Hersey, it'll be a very pleasant journey home, 26-6 as they beat East St. Louis. Bill Hazen for Bill Gurley and our entire Sports Vision crew saying that's the story here from Normal, Illinois for this evening. The proceeding has been an exclusive Sports Vision presentation.